Chapter 1068. This youth, dressed in luxurious robes, didn't look like an expert. However, Ning Qing knew that this was a true expert. The youth stood on the giant altar and gave a pill master's salute to everyone on the Alchemy Dao public square. Thank you, the top pill masters of the 5 great realms, for coming here to participate in the 5 realms pill competition. I'm Wuxia, the head of the Great Change Realms Pill Gathering and the initiator of the 5 Realms Pill Competition. Wuxia's words attracted a burst of cheers. He was young and handsome, had a high cultivation, and was the number 1 in the Pill Dao. He was also the head of the Pill Gathering in the Great Change Realm. If there was a star here, then Wuxia was undoubtedly one of the superstars of the Great Change Realm. In fact, every time Wuxia appeared, it would attract a lot of cheers. Perhaps it wasn't a chase after a star, but Wuxia's achievements were enough to convince anyone. This kind of cheers represented a kind of recognition, a kind of pursuit and yearning. Wuxia smiled and spoke calmly. For this 5 realms pill competition, we are fortunate to have invited Luying Dao Court's pill minister Zhong Hongbai, Cloud Light Dao Court's pill minister Pu Lao, Jade Pure Dao Court's pill sage Chen Yingxin, Great Mystery Dao Court's pill sage Li Mo, and Covering Space Dao Sect's left protector Master Cize. Apart from that, there are also the heads of the pill gathering from the 5 great realms and the various Dao Court city lords. With Wuxia's words, a few figures landed on the judging panel. Si Chen Qiu Tian, who sat next to Ning Qing, also stood up and walked to the judging panel. As the head of the pill gathering, Si Chen Qiu Tian was qualified to sit on the judging panel. Ning Qing felt secretly shocked. He knew the strength of Lu Dongzi, Kong Lianhua, and the middle-aged scholar Lu Fangzhen, who was also a powerhouse. However, Wuxia didn't even have the qualifications to say their names. Apart from the 5 great Dao courts and 3 great Dao sects, those who could be called out by Wuxia definitely wouldn't be weak. Ning Qing soon realized that he wasn't wrong. Among those sitting on the judging panel, there were at least 7 or 8 people who weren't any weaker than mysterious fairy ancient clans Li Feng. However, Ning Qing also knew that the experts sitting on the judging panel of the 5 realms pill competition weren't the strongest in the entire Great Change Realm. In fact, they couldn't even rank in the top few. The reason why they were able to sit here, other than representing their respective forces, was that they were slightly more outstanding in terms of alchemy. The Grand Change Realm truly deserved to be a grand world with the most complete heaven and earth laws. Even the Grand Essence Realm couldn't compare to the Grand Change Realm in terms of strength. Many years have passed since the start of the 5 realms pill competition. Although some talented alchemists have emerged in my 5 grand realms over the years, to be honest, I have never found an alchemist that can truly surpass me. This is my sorrow, and also the sorrow of my 5 grand realms. When Wuxia said this, the square seemed to be affected and the cheers quietened down. Ning Qing whispered to Qianqian beside him, "Qianqian, do you know what's going on?" Qianqian quickly explained, "Senior Mu is the premier pill sage of the 5 grand realms. His attainment in the alchemy Dao has already reached the peak of the 5 grand realms. Even with Senior Mu's high attainment in the alchemy Dao, I heard that he lost to others. Senior Mu made a vow that if the 5 grand realms couldn't find an alchemist that could compete with him, he would never leave the 5 grand realms again. Because of this, Senior Mu decided to hold the 5 realms pill competition. As a result, the 5 realms pill competition has been held many times, but Senior Mu has never taken a fancy to an alchemist and brought him out to compete in the alchemy Dao. Everyone in the Grand Change Realm knows about this. Big Brother Ning, you're not from the Grand Change Realm, so it's normal that you don't know about it." Ning Qing felt secretly horrified. Lu Dongzi and Kong Lianhua's attainments in the alchemy Dao were top-notch. They had to be primordial chaos pill sages. Wuxia's attainments in the alchemy Dao should have far surpassed Lu Dongzi and Kong Lianhua. If even Wuxia's attainments in the alchemy Dao couldn't compare to the other party, then just how powerful was the other party's attainments in the alchemy Dao? Mu Zuoxiao continued in a low voice. Originally, we planned to use the alchemy Dao to determine the winner of this pill competition. But after listening to the Grand Beginning Realm Pill Association's Association Master Lu Dongzi and the Grand Essence Realm's Alchemy Master Ning Cheng, I came up with a new idea. We will decide the winner of this pill competition in 3 rounds, and the first round will also be decided through identification. To prevent outstanding alchemists like Ning Cheng from not being able to recognize them, we won't use names to determine the winner this time. Instead, we'll use the functions of each alchemist to determine the winner. At this point, Mu Zuoxiao paused and glanced at the alchemists who were about to participate in the pill competition before continuing. Unlike before, this time, we don't need to directly identify divine grasses. Instead, we need to identify divine grasses or Dao fruit seeds. If you can't identify them in the first round, no matter how high your attainments in the alchemy Dao are, you will be directly eliminated. After listening to Mu Zuoxiao's words, the alchemists participating in the pill competition started talking about it in confusion. The first time he heard that the second spirit technique was the Grand Fate Spirit technique, his heart completely lost balance. No matter how strong the Fate Spirit technique is, it is not the first spirit technique in the Primal Chaos universe. The person who controls the Fate Spirit technique also walked step by step like us. Your fate is not in what you want to do, but in how you are prepared to do it. Pill Master Ning has amazing talent, why bother with a trivial fate? When you are ready to do it, your fate is already in your hands. A gentle and soft voice fell into Ning Cheng's ears. Ning Cheng felt as if he was suddenly enlightened and instantly sobered up. That's right, because he had the mysterious yellow bead, he worried about gains and losses. Didn't those who didn't have the mysterious yellow bead do what they wanted to do? One day in the future, he would also be able to control his fate. Ning Cheng's mind calmed down. Only then did he remember the person who helped him with his Dao heart. He subconsciously looked back. Then he saw Nianyan with a smile on her face. Nianyan sat behind him and nodded at him with a smile. Ning Cheng nodded at Nianyan gratefully. He didn't understand how Nianyan recognized him, but he didn't put up much of a guard against Nianyan. No longer worried about encountering a Fate Spirit technique powerhouse, Ning Cheng once again listened to Mu Zuoxiao's words. Although Mu Zuoxiao didn't say much, Ning Cheng still felt that Mu Zuoxiao was as vast and unfathomable as the sea. Now, the 5 Realms Pill competition officially begins. All participating alchemists, please come to the stage. Grand Change Realm Pill meets Deputy Association Head Kong Lianbo will set the questions and preside over this pill competition. After Mu Zuoxiao finished speaking, his figure flashed slightly, and he immediately sat in the middle of the judge's seat behind the giant altar. Ning Cheng stood up and walked up to the giant altar with the other participants from the Grand Essence Realm. After sitting down in the Grand Essence Realm's alchemists area on the giant altar, Ning Cheng discovered that more than 300 people participated in the first round of the 5 Realms Pill competition. Out of more than 300 people, the Grand Essence Realm only got 6 spots. One of them was won by him and Lu Dongzi in an alchemy duel. One had to say that this was the sorrow of the Grand Essence Realm's alchemists. In fact, on the giant altar, only 5 people sat in the Grand Essence Realm's area. Even compared to the Grand Ultimate Realm, it was still a pitiful number. Everyone had already gotten used to it. After all, the Grand Essence Realm always had the least number of participants in each pill competition. After the alchemists sat down, Kong Lianbo walked up to the giant altar and said in a clear voice, "The top 10 of this pill competition will be given the 5 Realms Pill Sage Identity Card, which will give you the qualification to open a cave in the Sacred Cloud Mountain." Ning Cheng didn't know the benefits of the 5 Realms Pill Sage Identity Card, nor did he know what it meant to open a cave in the Sacred Cloud Mountain. But the other alchemists knew about it. With the 5 Realms Pill Sage Identity Card, it meant that one could walk unhindered in the Grand Change Realm. Except for a few powerhouses, no one would dare to point fingers at you. For example, if Ning Cheng had the 5 Realms Pill Sage Identity Card, even if Lu Fangzhen had 10,000 times the courage, he wouldn't dare to order Ningcheng. The Sacred Cloud Mountain was the Pil-Meet's premier cultivation sacred land and one of the top 10 cultivation sacred lands in the Grand Change realm. It wasn't much weaker than the Luying Dao Pavilion's Dao Crossing Pond. Opening a cave in the Sacred Cloud Mountain was the dream of every cultivator in the Grand Change realm. Chapter 1069. In addition to the above rewards, the third place will be rewarded with 2 high-grade God Spirit veins and 10 Dao Essence Dao fruits. The second place will be rewarded with 5 high-grade God Spirit veins, 10 Dao Essence Dao fruits, and 1 Primordial Essence Dao fruit. The first place will be rewarded with 10 high-grade God Spirit veins, 10 Primordial Essence Dao fruits, and 2 Primordial Essence Dao fruits. In addition, the first place will be rewarded with a wood-attributed top-grade God Spirit vein. Kong Lianhua's words made Ningcheng secretly marvel at the wealth of this pill association. Sure enough, the first place would be rewarded with a wood-attributed God Spirit vein, but it was just one of the many rewards. In fact, Kong Lianhua didn't say one more thing. In addition to the above rewards and glory, the first place might also get a chance to discuss alchemy with Mu Zuoxiao. After talking about the rewards, when everyone quieted down a little, Kong Lianhua continued, next, the first round of the pill competition, seed identification. The time limit is 1 day. After Kong Lianhua finished speaking, a transparent restriction rose around all the alchemists. The rise of this restriction meant that spiritual consciousness couldn't be released outside, nor could it penetrate inside. After the restriction rose, a longan-sized jet-black seed appeared on the transmission platform in front of Ningcheng. Ningcheng picked up the seed and saw a faint Dao charm circulating around the seed. It seemed to contain a Dao charm aura that could dissipate at any time. When Ningcheng saw this seed, he secretly felt that it was a close call because he recognized this seed. To be precise, he recognized this seed after reading about the universe vegetation. If not for Lu Dongca's universe vegetation, Ningcheng felt sure that he would have been eliminated in the first round. For ordinary divine grasses, Ningcheng might have been able to deduce their effects in a day. This seed, even if Ningcheng's mysterious yellow formless grew even more powerful, it would not be able to deduce the effects of the divine grasses that it would grow into in just 1 day. Not to mention 1 day, even if it took many years, Ningcheng estimated that he would not be able to do it. This was a Dao fruit seed. The name of this Dao fruit was a bit strange, called half-blooming epiphyllum. The Dao fruit produced by this seed not only contained the Dao charm of the 5 elements between heaven and earth, but it would also give rise to other law attributes such as the Dao charm of wind, thunder, ice, and other attributes. However, these law attributes were like short-lived epiphyllum and would disappear in a short time. To say that it was short-lived was an exaggeration. In fact, the law attributes only appeared for a short time. The ephemeral epiphyllum Dao fruit was a primordial Dao fruit and its only use was to refine the heaven and earth epiphyllum pill. Alchemists, the first round of the competition has ended. Alchemists, please place your jade strips on the transmission platform in front of you and teleport to the judges' seats. Ningcheng placed his jade strip on the transmission platform. He was sure that he could pass the first round. The first round's evaluation wasn't subjective. Whether one understood it or not, one would know it just by looking at the jade strip. In less than an hour, the results came out. According to the alchemist's understanding of the half-blooming epiphyllum Dao fruit, Ningcheng scored 67 points out of 100, ranking him 46th. Ningcheng didn't feel surprised about this ranking because he didn't write down the cultivation method of the half-blooming epiphyllum Dao fruit or how to control it during alchemy. There were many cultivation methods for the half-blooming epiphyllum Dao. The reason why Ningcheng didn't write them down was that his method was a bit different. As for how to control it during alchemy, Ningcheng didn't write it down. His Tao of alchemy was different from others. He could get more points if he wrote it down, but if the judges were picky, they would say that his cultivation method was different from what was written on the jade strip. Although he had his reasons, he wasn't in the mood to explain these things. What's more, Ning Qing knew that the deciding round of this pill competition wouldn't be the first round, but the second and third rounds. A total of 52 alchemists successfully passed the first round, with the highest score being 98 points. Moreover, it wasn't just one alchemist, but 3 alchemists with 98 points. Ning Qing ranked 46th, which was a bit behind. A ranking appeared on the huge screen over the square. Only 52 people entered the second round. The elimination rate was a bit too high. Apart from Ning Qing, who entered the second round, there was another person from the Grand Essence realm, Luxia. Luxia not only entered the second round, but her score was even higher than Ning Qing's, ranking 41st. Lu Dongzi frowned slightly when he saw Ning Qing's ranking. According to Ning Qing's question, Ning Qing should have already seen the effects of the half-blooming epiphyllum Dao fruit. As long as Ning Qing saw it, Ning Qing would definitely enter the top 10. So why did he only score 67 points? The eliminated alchemists came down from the giant altar, leaving only 52 alchemists on the giant altar. Kong Lianhua spoke up again. The first round of the pill competition is over. Now, the second round of the pill competition will begin. A total of 52 alchemists will participate in the second round of the pill competition. The second round of the pill competition is for refining the heaven and earth ephemeral flower pill. Each alchemist will have a transmission platform in front of them. In addition to the half-blooming epiphyllum seed, if you need any divine grasses, you can engrave your needs on the jade strip beside the transmission platform. The second round of the pill competition will last for a month, and it starts now. Sure enough, to refine the heaven and earth ephemeral flower pill, one had to cultivate the half-blooming epiphyllum Dao fruit to refine this pill. Cultivating the half-blooming epiphyllum Dao fruit for a month was definitely a challenge. Ning Qing had read about the Dao fruit of the ephemeral flower in the book, Interspatial Vegetation. According to it, the shortest time to cultivate the Dao fruit of the ephemeral flower was 1 month. Since this pill competition only required 1 month, it meant that this pill competition not only had high requirements for the Dao of alchemy, but it also required a high understanding of the laws of heaven and earth. The stronger one's understanding of the laws of heaven and earth, the stronger one's Dao charm would be. As for the half-blooming epiphyllum Dao fruit, the clearer the 5-element Dao charm, the faster it would mature. Ning Qing casually refined a simple clay pot with some soil and put it into the pot with some soil from the mysterious yellow bead. This competition only gave out a seed and nothing else, which indirectly showed that any alchemist could use their own methods to cultivate the half-blooming epiphyllum Dao fruit. Ning Qing then planted the half-blooming epiphyllum Dao fruit into the pot. Ning Qing then took out some water from the mysterious yellow bead and watered it. This time, cultivating the half-blooming epiphyllum Dao fruit depended on one's own spirit techniques. Even if you used the breath soil to cultivate it, it was still your own ability. Mu Zuoxiao had already made this point clear. One's own opportunities and luck were also a kind of ability. Just 3 days later, Ning Qing's half-blooming epiphyllum seed sprouted. This pill competition was open to everyone. Although the place where Ning Qing and the others stood had restrictions restricting spiritual consciousness, the cultivators watching from under the altar could clearly see everyone's every move while cultivating the Dao fruit. Ning Qing's half-blooming epiphyllum seed germinated in 3 days. The first alchemist to cultivate the half-blooming epiphyllum seed took only 2.5 days to germinate. Ning Qing's speed wasn't slow either. Among all the participating alchemists, his seed was the third to germinate. Because of the restrictions, the cultivators watching from outside couldn't see whose half-blooming epiphyllum seed's Dao charm was stronger. But considering that Ning Qing only ranked 46th in the first round, coupled with Mu Zuoxiao mentioning Ning Qing before the pill competition, many people's eyes still fell on Ning Qing. After the half-blooming epiphyllum seed germinated, it was somewhat similar to the bestowing lawless fruit and required various laws of heaven and earth to cultivate. Unlike the bestowing lawless fruit, the half-blooming epiphyllum seed didn't devour the laws of heaven and earth. Instead, It grew under the influence of various laws of heaven and earth. Ning Cheng had the law-breaking spirit technique, and his understanding of the laws of heaven and earth wasn't weak. Therefore, at this time, he continued to infuse his understanding of the laws of the great Tao into the half-blooming epiphyllum seed. 10 days later, Ning Cheng felt the difference between him and the top alchemists. In just 10 days, his half-blooming epiphyllum seed had only grown a foot. However, the half-blooming epiphyllum seed would only bear fruit after a meter. In other words, by the time his half-blooming epiphyllum seed bore fruit, a month would have already passed. As for the powerful alchemists, the half-blooming epiphyllum seed's Tao fruit was almost a meter long. Chapter 1070. However, Ning Cheng calculated in his heart that if he wanted to cultivate the half-blooming epiphyllum, there was only one way, and that was to use the chaos chi of the 5 elements. However, the value of the 5 elemental chaos energy far exceeded the value of the 5 elemental chaos energy. Even if he obtained first place, the rewards would not necessarily be as valuable as the 5 elemental chaos energy. What's more, the fleeting epiphyllum cultivated with the 5 elements primal chaos chi would definitely contain a trace of primal chaos origin energy. Even if it was refined into a pill, experts would still be able to sense it. Seeing that the gains were not proportional to the effort, Ning Cheng immediately dispelled the idea of using the 5-element chaos chi. If he didn't use the 5-elemental chaos chi, he would have to use another method. Otherwise, he might not even be able to cultivate the epiphyllum Tao fruit after a month. Ning Cheng took out a dozen wood origin crystals and put them into the pot with the half-blooming epiphyllum. Although wood origin crystals were precious, they couldn't compare to the 5-elemental chaos chi. He happened to have quite a few of these things. Sure enough, after integrating the wood origin crystal, Ning Cheng's half-blooming epiphyllum grew much faster. Coupled with the integration of Ning Cheng's Tao charm laws, Ning Cheng's short-blooming epiphyllum finally grew to about 1 meter after 20 days. The epiphyllum had 5 leaves of different colors. When it grew to 1 meter, a 5-colored flower appeared on top of it. Under the nourishment of Ning Cheng's Tao charm of various attributes, the 5-colored flower became even more vibrant. The name of the half-blooming epiphyllum was reflected at this moment. This 5-colored flower only bloomed halfway. No matter how bright it was, it would not continue to bloom. At this moment, Ning Cheng didn't have the energy to watch other people's half-blooming epiphyllum. Since the half-blooming epiphyllum was about to bear fruit, he needed to have a better control over the attribute laws absorbed by the half-blooming epiphyllum. Ning Cheng focused 90% of his attention on the half-blooming epiphyllum. He had already prepared the auxiliary divine grasses for refining the heaven and earth epiphyllum pill a long time ago. Even if he didn't have a furnace, he had already taken it out. He was just waiting for the epiphyllum to bloom and the Tao fruit to ripen. He was ready to start refining pills at any time. As another 3 days passed by, Ning Cheng felt that something was wrong. His half-blooming epiphyllum seemed to have faded from its brightest color, and the half-blooming epiphyllum didn't even look like a Tao fruit. Ning Cheng's gaze swept out, only to find that a few pill masters' epiphyllum fruits were already the size of a child's fist. The other 2 alchemists had already started to concoct pills. No, there was something wrong with his cultivation. Ning Cheng once again recalled the words about the half-blooming epiphyllum in the universe's grasses and trees. The half-blooming epiphyllum absorbs the laws of heaven and earth, condenses the Tao charm, fuses yin and yang, and obtains the half-blooming epiphyllum fruit. Aside from adding the wood origin crystal, there shouldn't be any mistakes in the cultivation process. Ning Cheng suddenly thought of the fusion of yin and yang. Winter left and spring came, all living things revived, flowers bloomed all over the ground, bees and butterflies bustled about. Ning Cheng almost wanted to slap his own head. He had already neglected the fact that solitary yin did not give birth to solitary yang. It would have been a strange thing if he could cultivate a Tao fruit. For any flower to bear fruit, it needs bees to deliver pollen. Although this Tao fruit didn't require bees to deliver pollen, the principle behind it was the same. Ning Qing immediately began to integrate the Tao charm of the 5 elemental attributes between heaven and earth into the half-formed flower. Sure enough, after Ning Qing integrated the Tao charm of the 5 elemental attributes into the flower instantly blossomed and then condensed. In a short period of time, the flower had turned into a green fruit. Streams of Tao aura lingered on the surface of the green fruit, and the 5 different colored leaves growing on the half-blooming epiphyllum gradually withered and disappeared. In just one day, only a colorful Tao fruit remained at the top of the 1-meter-tall half-blooming epiphyllum. The Tao charm flowed within it, and a faint Tao charm fragrance wafted over. Ning Qing took in a deep breath and raised his hand to bring out the nameless flame. The half-blooming epiphyllum Tao fruit was about to mature. He wanted to put this Tao fruit into the pill furnace the moment it matured and leave behind the Tao fruit's attribute Tao charm. Kacha, the 1-meter-tall half-blooming epiphyllum tree snapped, and the half-blooming epiphyllum fell from the sky. Ning Qing didn't wait for the Tao fruit to fall to the ground. With a wave of his hand, the Tao fruit entered the furnace. At the same time, the nameless flame ignited under the furnace. The snowflake-like flame looked very beautiful inside the restrictions. The half-blooming epiphyllum Tao fruit began to melt, and the 5 elemental attribute laws changed again at this moment. It gave birth to the wind attribute, then to the thunder attribute, and then to the ice attribute. While Ning Qing was in a daze, the time attribute and space attribute laws extended out. Ning Qing grew anxious. The more law attributes appeared, the more difficult it would be for him to control them. He hurriedly threw the rest of the divine herbs into the pill furnace and quickly melted them. At the same time, he sent out a pill technique to wrap up the epiphyllum's half-revealed Tao fruit's attribute laws. Time passed slowly. At this point, all the pill refiners who were qualified to concoct the Heaven and Earth Dutchman pill were focused on concocting pills. Those who were incapable had already failed. An hour later, Ning Qing directly threw out the dregs of his pill art and began to integrate the attribute laws of the epiphyllum's half-revealed Tao fruit. Ning Qing had refined the 6-yin soul pill before, and during the process of refining the 6-yin soul pill, he finally understood the fit between the Tao of alchemy and his own Tao. He integrated the Tao of alchemy into the great Tao of coalescence, allowing his comprehension of the great Tao to reach a higher level. At the same time, his understanding of alchemy became more thorough. Now that he had fused with the nomological Tao runes of the epiphyllum flower's half-revealed Tao fruit, this kind of enlightenment was finally useful. Ning Qing successfully integrated the 5 elemental nomological Tao runes into the Tao core. If it were an ordinary alchemist, the Heaven and Earth Dutchman who integrated the 5 elemental nomological Tao runes into the Heaven and Earth Dutchman pill would have already achieved great success. However, Ning Qing didn't give up. His epiphyllum flower's half-revealed Tao fruit still contained the laws of wind, thunder, and ice. It even derived the laws of time and space. Unfortunately, Ning Qing didn't have a thorough understanding of the laws of wind. Therefore, he made a mistake when he integrated the laws of wind into the Tao fruit. However, this didn't affect Ning Qing's fusion of the laws of thunder and ice into the Tao core. Even so, Ning Qing didn't give up. He once again integrated the Tao runes of the epiphyllum flower's half-revealed Tao fruit's Tao runes into the Tao core. Even if it was only a trace of the Tao runes, it was still a bargaining chip. Because of Ning Qing's timely control over the half-appearing epiphyllum Tao fruit, the Tao fruit derived from the half-appearing epiphyllum Tao fruit, except for the wind-attributed Tao charm, almost all the other Tao charm laws were integrated into Ning Qing's Tao core. The most important and difficult part of refining a Tao core was to integrate the Tao runes of the Tao fruit. The ephemeral epiphyllum Tao fruit was different from other Tao fruits. It was a Tao fruit that could infinitely expand nomological Tao runes. It was a Tao fruit that could infinitely expand the Tao runes of the Tao fruit's laws. The difference was that the Tao core that integrated more Tao runes of the Tao fruit's laws would have a higher value. Ning Cheng's furnace of Tao pills contained 9 Tao runes of the Tao fruit's laws. One could say that it was the pinnacle of the heaven and earth ephemeral flower pill. After a few days of integrating the 9 Tao runes into the Tao core, the next steps didn't pose any challenge to Ning Cheng. Another hour later, Ning Cheng raised his hand and put away the 12 Tao cores. After refining the furnace of heaven and earth ephemeral flower pills, Ning Cheng finally had time to look at the others. Ning Cheng was slightly surprised to find that he was almost at the back of the entire assessment altar. Apart from him, only 2 other people were still refining pills. Most of the alchemists sat quietly in their seats. Some people had jade bottles of Tao pills, while others didn't. Ning Cheng guessed that those without jade bottles were alchemists who had failed. Ning Cheng calmly put away all his things and sat in his seat, waiting for the end of the second round. Seeing that Ning Cheng finally managed to complete his alchemy before the 1-month deadline, the people who were familiar with Ning Cheng all felt relieved. Although Lu Dongzi didn't care that he lost to Ning Cheng, he would still feel a little embarrassed if Ning Cheng couldn't even complete the second round. That meant that he, Lu Dongzi, couldn't do it. As the last hour passed, Kong Lianhua landed on the giant altar and said in a clear voice, "The second round of the pill competition has ended. All alchemists, please stop refining pills." As soon as his words fell, one of the alchemists pulled out several pills from his furnace and put them into a jade bottle. At the same time, he stopped. Another alchemist was still refining pills when a cloud of smoke erupted from his furnace. Apparently, he had failed. Kong Lianhua saw that all the alchemists had stopped refining pills and nodded. As an alchemist, in addition to talent and luck, the most important thing is confidence. There are a total of 52 alchemists participating in the second round. Some alchemists succeeded in refining the heaven and earth ephemeral pill, while others failed. Whether they succeed or fail, it doesn't matter. What matters is whether our confidence in the Tao of alchemy is still there. No alchemist can only succeed in refining pills without failure. Therefore, in this round, in addition to competing in the Tao of alchemy, there is also a competition of confidence. Ning Cheng didn't know how Kong Lianhua would compete in confidence, but he agreed with Kong Lianhua's words. The reason why Sichin Qiu Tian's Tao of alchemy had cracks was because he had lost his confidence. Therefore, in the second round, we won't let the judges directly evaluate the heaven and earth ephemeral pill refined by the alchemists. Instead, we will let the alchemists stand up and evaluate the Tao pills they refined. Even if you fail and don't refine a single pill, you can still stand up and say that you can enter the top 10, as long as your reason is recognized by all the judges. Hearing Kong Lianhua's words, Ning Cheng secretly thought that Kong Lianhua was trying to recommend himself. At that time, he didn't care. The heaven and earth ephemeral pill he refined was most likely to come in first. Even if it wasn't first, it wouldn't fall out of the top 3. Seeing that no one objected to his words, Kong Lianhua continued, "Now, let the judging begin. Alchemists, please evaluate the ranking of your Tao pills. If the Tao pill you refined is very good, but you don't dare to stand up and say anything, you will be directly eliminated." Ning Cheng understood that even if he refined the heaven and earth ephemeral pill that would definitely enter the top 3, if he didn't stand up and say anything, he would still be eliminated. Chapter 1071. A tall man stood up and bowed before saying loudly, "I am Primordial Tao Alchemy Saint Qin Zishu from the Great Beginning Realm. I am confident that I can enter the top 10 with my Heaven and Earth Dutchman's Tao pill." After Qin Zishu sat down, a red-robed man stood up. His voice was extremely coarse. "Grand Beginning Realm Tao Essence Alchemy Saint Tang Mo greets everyone. I am confident that I will be number 1 in this round of alchemy competition." Lu Dongzi nodded in satisfaction. In the entire primordial realm, Tang Mo was the strongest after his skill in alchemy. Tang Mo said that he was confident of getting first place in this round, which meant that his batch of Heaven and Earth Dutchman's pill was very successful. In fact, Lu Dongzi did not doubt Tang Mo's words. Even though he did not know how good Tang Mo's cauldron of Dao pills was, he had seen the epiphyllum Dao fruit that Tang Mo had cultivated. It was indeed one of the best. Ning Cheng also couldn't help but sigh. It was not that Tang Mo said that he was the first one to sigh, but the people who stood up all had higher cultivations than him. Qin Zishu was at the early stage primordial Dao, while Tang Mo was an early stage primordial chaos sacred emperor. I don't agree with alchemist Tang being number one. I'm a primordial Dao alchemy saint from the great beginning realm, Feng Shihao. I'm confident that I can get first place in this round. A skinny man with a pale face stood up and bowed in the manner of an alchemist. His tone was filled with great confidence. Tang Mo's expression was very ugly. He also knew the rules of this competition. Standing out to refute at this time would make him appear petty. Now, it was a competition of confidence, and the final result would be determined by the judges. If you won in the end, it would boost your confidence. If you lost, it would be a huge blow to your confidence. The Great Change Realm's mixed Yuan Pill Saint, Yu Guji, is the champion of this round, and the champion of this year's 5 Realms Pill competition. Another man stood up and said calmly. He was so calm as if he was talking about something that had already happened. This man looked delicate and handsome. His expression and eyes were very calm, without any hint of arrogance. However, his words were full of confidence. He didn't even say that he was confident. He directly said that he was the champion of this round. Before the third round had even begun, he had already announced that he was also the champion of the 5 Realms Pill competition. It was as if it was only right and proper for him to get first place. It would be strange if he didn't. Ning Cheng was a little speechless. There was simply no such thing as modesty. Should he also say that he was first? If that was the case, there would be 4 firsts. The Great Change Realm's primordial Dao alchemy saint, Fu Shouhao, is confident of advancing to the top 10 in this round. Primordial Dao alchemy saint Mo of the primordial beginning realm is confident of advancing to the top 10 in this round. Great Change Realm's Yunjiuli, the Great Ultimate Realm's Yixingnan. As more and more people stood up, Ning Cheng counted and found that the number of people had already exceeded 10. He couldn't help but sigh at the low level of the Grand Essence Realm's alchemy Dao. If he hadn't participated, no one would have stood up in the second round. Ning Cheng stood up at this time. Grand Essence Realm's Ning Cheng can advance to the top 3 in this round's pill competition. Originally Ning Cheng also wanted to say that he could get the first place, but after thinking about it, he decided to give up on this statement. None of the alchemists here were weak, and there were even primordial chaos alchemy saints. He knew that the Heaven and Earth Dutchman pill could only condense more than 10 types of elemental laws. He had only condensed 9 of them. Besides, this competition of confidence was definitely not the main factor that decided the outcome. As for who could get the first place, it all depended on the medicinal pill. If one talked big, it wouldn't be confidence, but bragging. Ning Cheng felt that this wasn't the best way to compete with Kong Lianhua's confidence. Real confidence in the alchemy Dao wasn't something that could be achieved with such confidence. Sure enough, when Ning Cheng said that he could advance to the top 3, it immediately attracted a lot of attention. Many people knew about the pill competition between Ning Cheng and Lu Dongzi, but not many people knew about Ning Cheng. What's more, Ning Cheng was from the Grand Essence Realm. The Grand Essence Realm's alchemy Dao was recognized as the worst. Since when did an alchemist from the Grand Essence Realm dare to say that he could enter the top 3? No way. When did an alchemist from the Grand Essence Realm have such strength? Advance to the top 3? Someone suddenly asked. It should be that Ning Cheng. Union Master Mu mentioned this alchemist before. He got the 46th place in the first round of the competition. 46th place in the first round, and now he's in the top 3 in the second round? I heard that he quibbled with Union Master Lu during the alchemy battle. He said that the Heavenly Fox double-leaf scale was a dog's tail grass and finally won against Union Master Lu. It looks like he's going to have a war of words again. I'd like to see what kind of words he uses to turn a donkey into a horse and turn the seventh from the bottom into the third. I feel sad for Feng Shihao from the Grand Beginning Realm and Tang Mo from the Grand Beginning Realm. The first place in this pill competition is undoubtedly our Grand Change Realm's Pill Seiju, and the first place in the second round is also undoubtedly Pill Seiju. When the results are revealed, Tang Mo and Feng Shihao's confidence in the alchemy Dao will take a hit. Hehe, that's what I want to see. Coming from a boundary with incomplete laws and wanting to win the first place. If others said that they were the first, no one would stand up to talk about it. But Ning Cheng just said that he could get into the top 3, and many people felt uncomfortable talking about it. Seeing that no one stood up to speak, Kong Lianhua landed on the giant altar and said, "The pill refiners who didn't stand up to speak, please step down from the altar." After saying this, Kong Lianhua paused for a moment. He waited for all the pill refiners to leave before he continued. There were 52 participants in the second round of the pill competition. In the end, there were only 12 who had the confidence to stay on stage. Since we only need the top 10 in the second round, there are still 2 people who need to be eliminated. Now, the 12 pill refiners, please put the medicinal pills you refined into the transmission platform and wait for the judges to rate them. Everyone sent the Dao pills they refined into the transmission platform. Ning Cheng also engraved his name on the jade bottle and sent it into the transmission platform. At this moment, everyone in the Alchemy Dao sect, whether it was the public square, the judges' seats or the pill refiners waiting on the stage, all of them quietened down. Everyone was waiting for the results. After half a day, Kong Lianhua once again stood on the stage and spoke with a clear voice. After the various judges, the top 10 have come out. Now, I will announce the names. One could say that the pill refiners participating in the great competition were looking forward to the results. Even if it was Ning Cheng, he was also looking forward to how many places he could get. The only person who was not worried was probably Great Change Realm's Yuguji. Perhaps in his opinion, no matter what Kong Lianhua announced, first place would still be his. Great Change Realm CE scored 100 points. Great Beginning Realms Mo Lien scored 105 points. The Heaven and Earth ephemeral pills they refined contained 2 Dao fruit attribute laws. Great Beginning Realms Qin Zishu scored 200 points. Great Change Realms Helanhao scored 210 points. The Heaven and Earth ephemeral pills they refined contained 3 Dao fruit attribute laws. Great Change Realms Fu Shouhao scored 310 points. Yun Jiuli scored 315 points. The Heaven and Earth ephemeral pills they refined contained 4 Dao fruit attribute laws. Great Beginning Realms Tang Mo scored 500 points. The Heaven and Earth ephemeral pills he refined contained 6 Dao fruit attribute laws. The above 7 people successfully advanced to the top 10. When Kong Lianhua reported this, Tang Mo's face turned a little pale. This batch of Heaven and Earth ephemeral pills could be said to have exceeded his usual standards. Not only did it integrate the 5 elemental Dao runes of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, but it also integrated the ice elemental Dao runes. He thought that the Heaven and Earth ephemeral pills with 6 elemental Dao runes would definitely be first. He didn't expect to only get into the top 10. According to Kong Lianhua, he should be in 4th place. The difference between 4th place and 1st place was not small. It was good to have confidence, but his confidence seemed to have inflated a little. At that moment, Tang Mo's confidence in the alchemy Dao suffered a blow. Even he didn't notice it. Not only did Tang Mo's expression turn ugly, but Great Beginning Realms Feng Shihao's expression also turned a little ugly. He also felt that he would definitely get 1st place. Now that Tang Mo's Heaven and Earth ephemeral pill had only gotten 4th place, it meant that he definitely wouldn't get 1st place. This was because his Heaven and Earth ephemeral pill was only slightly better than Tang Mo's. He had integrated 7 types of Dao fruit attribute laws. Unless the other two people refined the same Dao pill as him, which also integrated 7 types of Dao fruit attribute laws, then they would compete on the quality of their Dao pills. As expected, Kong Lianbo continued, Great Beginning Realms Feng Shihao scored 610 points. He refined the Heaven and Earth Ephemeral pill that integrated 7 types of Dao fruit attribute laws and obtained 3rd place in the second round. At this point, Kong Lianbo paused and looked at Yuguji. Yuguji had been the calmest since the beginning. He wasn't pretending to be calm. He was really calm. He believed that among the 5 great realms, besides the Great Change Realm Elixir Association Master Wuxia, no one else could be stronger than him in the alchemy Dao. Even if it was Wuxia, he would surpass him sooner or later. At that moment, Kong Lianbo didn't announce first place. Instead, he looked at him. This made Yuguji's heart skip a beat. He had a bad feeling. Before Yuguji could think further, Kong Lianbo's voice sounded. Great Change Realms Yuguji scored 760 points. He successfully integrated 8 types of Dao fruit attribute laws into the Heaven and Earth Ephemeral pill and obtained 2nd place in the second round. The spectating cultivators were already in an uproar. The second round of the pill competition had been too exciting. Someone had actually refined a Heaven and Earth Ephemeral pill that integrated 6 types of Dao fruit attribute laws. However, this wasn't first place. It wasn't even in the top 3. Soon, Kong Lianbo announced that Alchemy Sage Feng Shihao and Alchemy Sage Yuguji had refined the Heaven and Earth Ephemeral pill that integrated 7 and 8 types of Dao laws respectively. The value of this Heaven and Earth Ephemeral pill had long surpassed that of the Primordial Dao pill. It was a pill that was hard to find. However, the 2 people who had refined such a precious Heaven and Earth Ephemeral pill weren't first place. How heaven-defying was the first place? When Kong Lianbo announced the second place, Yuguji suddenly stood up. From his clenched fists, one could tell that he was extremely uneasy. Chapter 1072. It wasn't just Yuguji who couldn't keep calm. Most people couldn't understand what was going on. Yuguji had refined the Heaven and Earth Ephemeral pill that contained 8 elemental Dao runes without any mistakes. Yet, this Dao pill was ranked 2nd. Who was first? Great Essence Realms Ning Qing scored 830 points. He refined the Heaven and Earth Ephemeral pill that contained 9 elemental Dao runes and won first place in this round. Kong Lianbo nodded at Ning Qing. He hadn't misjudged Ning Qing. Ning Qing's potential was amazing. Ning Qing, a Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor, could take first place in this pill competition. It was already heaven-defying for a Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor to refine a Primordial Dao pill, let alone first place. However, he wasn't too surprised. Ning Qing could create a Dao Nourishment Divine Pills pill recipe in 6 days, which was an amazing thing in itself. If it were him, he wouldn't be able to do it either. How could an alchemy sage who could create a Dao Nourishment Divine Pills pill recipe in 6 days refine a Heaven and Earth Ephemeral pill with 9 elemental Dao runes in this round be considered strange? As Kong Lianbo announced that Ning Qing had won first place, the Alchemy Dao Sex Plaza quietened down, and everyone's eyes fell on Ning Qing. After a few breaths, the frenzied discussions started. Very few people doubted Kong Lianbo's words. No matter how bold Kong Lianbo was, he wouldn't dare to cheat in this pill competition. Moreover, Kong Lianbo only had the right to announce it, not the right to judge. What did it mean to become famous in one breath? Ning Qing became famous in one breath. No matter how Ning Qing performed in the 3rd round of the pill competition, he had already become famous. Many people stared at Ning Qing, thinking about how to build a relationship with him. What surprised them even more was that Ning Qing only had a Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor cultivation. In the Great Change Realm, there were too many sects that could help a Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor advance to a higher level in a short time. As long as Ning Qing needed it, countless people would want Ning Qing to go to the best place in their sect to cultivate. Lu Fengzhen, who was sitting on the side, looked horrified. He knew that Ning Cheng's alchemy Dao should be good. For example, Ning Cheng had advanced 46th place in the first round. However, he didn't expect Ning Cheng's alchemy Dao to be so terrifying that he could obtain 830 points in the second round. Adding up the total score of the 2 rounds, Ning Cheng was without a doubt the first. No wonder this person was so confident. When she wanted to take Qianqian away, he dared to let her go. Whether he wanted to take away Qianqian or not, he had to change the relationship between the Luying Dao court and Ning Cheng. When he saw the Dao pill refined by Ning Cheng, Mu Zuoxiao, who sat in the judge's seat, stood up in excitement. Since the start of the 5 Realms pill competition, this was the first time he had seen an alchemy Dao powerhouse like Ning Cheng. This was the kind of person he had been searching for. More importantly, Ning Cheng was only a Dao nourishment divine emperor. Once Ning Cheng advanced to the primordial essence sacred emperor stage, Ning Cheng's alchemy Dao would be immeasurable. Perhaps he had finally found a pill saint who could help him vent his anger. Fortunately, Mu Zuoxiao's excitement quickly calmed down, and he allowed Kong Lianhua to announce the result. Guild Master Kong, I'm not doubting Pill Master Ning's alchemy skills. It was because Alchemy Master Ning only had a Dao birth cultivation level. Even if he could barely refine primordial Dao pills, it would be very difficult for him to do so. Therefore, I would like to request that you take a look at Pill Master Ning's Heaven and Earth Dutch Flower Pill. Yu Guji finally calmed himself down and spoke to Kong Lianhua with cupped fists. Kong Lianhua said in a deep voice, if you want to see Pill Master Ning Cheng's Dao pill, you can. However, you need to seek Pill Master Ning's permission. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the right to see Pill Master Ning's Dao pill. Yu Guji knew the rules of the 5 Realms pill competition, so he looked at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng didn't wait for Yu Guji to speak and took the initiative to speak, Pill Master, you can naturally see the pills I refine. However, I also want to see Pill Master use Dao pill. Yu Guji said proudly, that's natural. This batch of Heaven and Earth Dutch flower pills contains the Dao runes of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, and ice. There are 12 completed pills, 6 special grade pills, and 6 high grade pills. Ning Cheng didn't talk nonsense with Yu Guji. He had failed to integrate the ice-attributed Dao runes, so he wanted to see how Yu Guji's Dao pill integrated the ice-attributed Dao runes. After a few breaths, Ning Cheng obtained a Dao pill refined by Yu Guji. Before his spiritual consciousness could sweep in, he heard Yu Guji say, Association Master Kong, I don't want a special grade Dao pill. Just give me a Dao pill below the special grade. Kong Lianhua smiled slightly, I'm afraid that's not possible. Why? Yu Guji frowned. He wanted to find the flaws in Ning Cheng's medicinal pills, which meant that he couldn't use a special grade medicinal pill. Kong Lianhua said calmly, because the 12 medicinal pills refined by Pill Master Ning Cheng are all special grade. What? Yu Guji's heart shook. His alchemy Dao heart, which had always been full of confidence, suddenly had a gap. An alchemy sage with Dao birth cultivation had actually refined 12 Heaven and Earth Dutch flower pills that contained the Dao runes of 9 different attributes. This simply couldn't be described as heaven-defying. Yu Guji fell silent and didn't speak any more nonsense. Instead, his entire mind seeped into the Heaven and Earth Dutch flower pills in his hand. However, the next moment, he raised his head in shock and murmured, it actually fused the Dao runes of the spatial and time laws. How did you do it? If Ning Cheng had heard his words, he would have replied, this isn't the alchemy Dao, but my primordial transformation Dao. When I cultivated the half-appearing epiphyllum, I infused it with the laws of time and space. My primordial transformation Dao contains the alchemy Dao. Can your Dao do it? Ning Cheng looked at the medicinal pill in his hand and praised it. From this medicinal pill, he could tell that Yu Guji's alchemy Dao level wasn't any weaker than his. The Dao runes that were infused were extremely clear. Of course, this was also because Yuguji had spent a lot of money to achieve it. If he was willing to spend that kind of money, he could also achieve this. He also understood why he had fused the Tao runes of 9 different attributes and refined special grade Tao pills. However, he had only scored 70 points more than Yuguji instead of 100 points. After half an incense stick's worth of time, Kong Lianhua took back the 2 Tao pills and asked, "Pill Master Yu, do you have anything else to say?" Yuguji sighed. Pill Master Ning can integrate the laws of time and space into the heaven and earth epiphyllum pill. Even if it's just a trace, it's still better than my Tao pills. Kong Lianhua nodded and looked at Ning Cheng. "Pill Master Ning, what do you think?" Ning Cheng replied honestly, "When it comes to the Tao runes of the laws, I have one more than Pill Master Yu. But when it comes to the value of refining the Tao pills, my medicinal pills aren't as valuable as his." Ning Cheng spoke the truth because Yuguji was willing to spend a lot of money. This fellow actually had the 5-element chaos chi. Not only that, but he also used the 5-element chaos chi to cultivate the half-appearing epiphyllum Tao fruit. Because Ning Cheng had the 5-element chaos chi, he could see this from Yuguji's medicinal pills. He could also see that Yuguji's 5-element chaos chi wasn't complete and only contained 2 or 3 of the 5 elements. Not bad, Pill Master Ning has a unique vision. The value of the medicinal pills refined by Pill Master Yu is indeed higher than the value of your medicinal pills. However, the level of your Tao pills has already surpassed Pill Master Yu. A very appreciative voice sounded. Everyone could see that the speaker was Wuxia, the first person of the 5 realms pill competition. Ning Cheng taking first place in this round was one thing, but what made Wuxia look at him in a different light was Ning Cheng's shrewd vision. If Yuguji had not swallowed the medicinal pills, some primordial chaos experts might not have been able to see that the half-appearing epiphyllum fruit in Yuguji's medicinal pills was cultivated with the 5-element chaos chi. Sitting in a corner of the judging panel, Si Chen Chiu Tian still couldn't believe that Ning Cheng had taken first place in the second round. This was simply beyond his expectations. It wasn't until many people came to greet him and even Wuxia took the initiative to speak to him that he truly understood that Ning Cheng had really taken first place in this round. At this moment, he was full of smiles as he exchanged greetings with the surrounding pill sages and experts from the great Tao courts. One had to know that in the past pill competitions, no one had paid attention to Si Chen Chiu Tian from the beginning to the end. He had come here just to go through the motions. Basically, he had been accompanying people from the start of the competition until the end. Lu Dongzi sat next to Si Chen Chiu Tian and laughed loudly as he said something to a city lord next to him. After laughing, he said, "Brother Su is overpraising me. After all, I lost to Pill Sage Ning. A loss is a loss. There's no reason to blame me." The sacred emperor, whom he addressed as Brother Su, said sternly, "With Pill Sage Ning's alchemy Tao standards, who would dare not lose? I guess only Brother Mu can say such words. Previously, I thought that Union Master Lu did not live up to his name. Now, it seems that I was just a frog in a well. I heard that Pill Sage Ning and Union Master Lu are brothers. I hope that Union Master Lu can introduce me to Pill Sage Ning after the competition." Lu Dongzi laughed again and said, "Well said, well said." Kong Lianhua waited for the noise inside and outside the venue to die down a little before continuing with a clear voice, "The 2 rounds of the 5 realms pill competition are over. Ning Cheng is temporarily ranked first, Yuguji is temporarily ranked second, and Feng Shihao is temporarily ranked third. Now, we will proceed to the final round of this pill competition, the deciding round." Both the stage and the stage turned completely silent. After the second round of the pill competition, Ning Cheng had obtained first place. However, everyone knew that this first place was not safe at all. The gap of a few dozen points could be overtaken at any time. The deciding round is still about alchemy. This time, the Tao pill is the heavenly heaven pill. Kong Lianhua's words attracted a burst of discussion before he finished. In a top-notch pill competition like the Five Realms pill competition, refining a heavenly heaven pill was not a joke, right? Even Ning Cheng was puzzled. The heavenly heaven pill was not a difficult pill to refine. One could even say that a primordial Tao pill sage could refine such a pill. If they were to compete in this kind of Tao pill, then everyone would be able to refine a batch of special grade pills. The third round would be too easy. Kong Lianhua still spoke up calmly, the only difference is that this time, we will be refining the heavenly heaven pill in a new space. There are no laws in this space. Ning Qing froze. If it were any other medicinal pill, then it would have been fine. But he had studied the heavenly heaven pill before. Even he couldn't refine the heavenly heaven pill in the grand essence realm, where the laws were incomplete. Refining the heavenly heaven pill in a place without any laws, wasn't it just a joke? Did he really have to use the five-element chaos chi? Moreover, this time's pill refining will depend on your own ability. You are not allowed to add any law aura that does not belong to the pill recipe. Kong Lianhua's words directly dispelled Ning Cheng's thoughts. Chapter 1073. Ning Cheng saw that the other 9 pill masters had a puzzled look on their faces, as if they could not figure out why Kong Lianhua had come up with such a topic, causing him to sigh with emotion in his heart. Looking at the expressions of these alchemists, it was clear that these alchemists in the top 10 all knew that the heavenly heaven pill couldn't be refined in a place with incomplete laws, but he still wanted to ask Si Chen Chiu Tian. Situ Chen's Chiu Tian, on the other hand, had failed 51 batches of heavenly pills in a row before barely reaching this conclusion. This was the gap between them. If he hadn't gotten the chance to look at the universe flora, would he have been able to get to where he was now? Now, I will place the divine herbs required to refine the heavenly heaven pill in front of you pill refiners. Pill refiners, please count the divine herbs required for the heavenly heaven pill. In a while, the pill competition altar's surroundings would be locked by a spatial magic treasure. All the alchemists on the pill competition platform will not be able to sense the aura of the laws of heaven and earth. After Kong Lianhua finished speaking, he waved his hand, and piles of divine grasses appeared in front of the 10 alchemists. Ning Qing estimated that he would lose miserably in this round. He helplessly looked at Sire Chen Chiu Tian. Sire Chen Chiu Tian gave him a nod as a sign of encouragement. Ning Qing then looked at Qianqian. If he couldn't get the first place, then his status would not be as high as he had imagined. At that time, it would be much more difficult for him to help Qianqian. When Qianqian saw Ning Qing looking at her, she also made an encouraging gesture. Ning Qing nodded, and his eyes inadvertently fell on Nianyan's body. Nianyan suddenly shook her head at Ning Qing, then closed her eyes and turned her head. Ning Qing retracted his gaze and looked at the pile of divine grasses in front of him. What did Nianyan mean by this? Was he telling him not to worry? Ning Qing also did not think much about it, he estimated that he would not be able to obtain the first position. Looking at the pile of divine grasses in front of him, Ning Qing picked up the Heaven Essence Tao fruit and thought about how to refine this furnace of Heaven Essence heavenly pills. Even if he failed, he could still get some points for the process. When he picked up the Heaven Essence fruit, he found that there was a branch that emitted a faint light under the Heaven Essence fruit. It seemed that nothing could land on this branch. This branch was born to not be stained by dust. Is this a dustless branch? Ning Qing put down the Heaven Essence fruit in shock and picked up the dustless branch. If he hadn't seen the plants in the universe, he wouldn't have known what a dustless branch was. But now, Ning Qing had a very clear understanding of the dustless branch. Among this pile of divine herbs, the most precious one was neither the Heaven Essence fruit nor the Extreme Ene's sacred fruit, but this dustless branch. Back when he and Lu Dongsa battled, Kong Lianhua took out a divine herb called the Sakya flower. The Sakya flower was very precious because it was a non-elemental divine herb. The dustless branch was somewhat similar to the Sakya flower, but it was many times more precious than the Sakya flower. This was because not only did the dustless branch not have any attributes, but it also did not contain any laws. However, this was not the main point. The main point was that if he could obtain such a spiritual item, he could use his own Tao Rhyme aura to nurture the dustless branch again. This way, the dustless branch would have the elemental law Tao Rhyme that he needed. The Heavenly Qianyuan Pill's pill recipe originally didn't have the dustless branch. Could it be that the pill competition added the dustless branch to the Heavenly Qianyuan Pill's pill recipe so that pill refiners could cultivate the Heavenly Qianyuan Pill's laws of heaven and earth, and then add these laws of heaven and earth into the Heavenly Qianyuan Pill? That must be the case. Otherwise, how could the Heavenly Pill be refined? In other words, the first and second rounds of the competition had a purpose. The purpose of nurturing the half-blooming epiphyllum was to lay the foundation for the third round. If one couldn't even nurture the half-blooming epiphyllum, then participating in the third round would just be a waste of the dustless branch. Because nurturing the dustless branch was much more complicated than nurturing the half-blooming epiphyllum. The half-blooming epiphyllum only needed to nurture it with the laws of heaven and earth. However, the dustless branch could nurture divine grasses with different laws of heaven and earth according to the cultivator's Tao laws. Not only did it require the cultivator to integrate their own laws of heaven and earth, but it also required the cultivator to transform the laws of heaven and earth into the laws of heaven and earth. To put it simply, the dustless branch was like a blank piece of paper. You could draw the laws of heaven and earth that you needed according to the cultivation method. The dustless branch also had another characteristic, that is, it could store all kinds of laws of heaven and earth for a short time. So the third round was actually like this. Ning Cheng felt slightly relieved. In his heart, he secretly admired the organizer's courage to take out so many dustless branch at once. With his ability, it would be a bit difficult to nurture the laws of heaven and earth that he needed with the dustless branch. This was because his cultivation was limited. However, the dustless branch gave him a new idea. He had refined the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill before. As for why the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill needed a place with complete laws of heaven and earth, he also understood. The primordial Tao realm and the Tao transformation realm were two completely different things. The Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill was a Tao pill that allowed Tao transformation holy emperors to comprehend the laws of primordial Tao realm. Therefore, it naturally had very low requirements for the laws of heaven and earth. He couldn't use the dustless branch to nurture the laws of heaven and earth that the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill required. However, he could use the dustless branch as a medium and use his returning to one Tao to arrange a small space of laws of heaven and earth in his pill furnace. As long as this space contained all kinds of laws of heaven and earth, he could refine the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill. For others, this might be several times more difficult than nurturing the dustless branch that contained the laws of heaven and earth. However, this was not the case for him. His mysterious yellow bead was a world with supreme laws. Since cultivating the mysterious yellow formless, his control over the laws of heaven and earth had far surpassed that of ordinary Tao confirming holy emperors. Because of this, he could comprehend the law-breaking spirit technique with half a bestowing lawless fruit. Furthermore, his sea of consciousness was strong enough to allow him to do this. With the refining plan in hand, Ning Cheng felt much more at ease. He looked up and glanced around again. The alchemists participating in the third round of the pill competition all looked a little worried. Even if they knew the function of the dustless branch, it wouldn't be easy to use it. Soon, Ning Cheng saw Nyenyen shaking her head slightly at him from a distance under the altar. No, this wasn't to comfort him and not to worry. If she wanted to comfort him, she wouldn't shake her head at him twice in a row. Ning Cheng admired Nyenyen's strength and her carefree attitude towards cultivation. Although he hadn't been in contact with Nyenyen for a long time, Nyenyen's voice transmission had helped him walk out of a dead end. One could say that Nyenyen's calmness and understanding of Tao intent had completely integrated into heaven and earth. Was Nyenyen trying to persuade him not to participate in the third round? Yes, others could only cultivate the dustless branch and let it possess the laws of heaven and earth of the heaven essence heavenly pill to refine pills. However, he could use the dustless branch as a medium to arrange a space of laws of heaven and earth. What did this mean? It meant that his control over the laws of heaven and earth was far better than others. Why could he do this? Because of the mysterious yellow bead. Whether he guessed correctly or not, Ning Cheng understood Nianyan's meaning. He didn't know how Nianyan could see that he was different from others, but he had to be careful. No matter how good the wood-attributed supreme-grade God spirit vein and the primordial Tao fruit were, they weren't as good as his life. If there are no questions, I will seal off the pill competition altar. The third round of the pill competition will begin soon. The third round of the competition will last for 6 months. During this period, the alchemy school will activate the great Tao perception spirit Tao array. Friends watching the pill competition can feel the great Tao aura of the alchemy school while watching the pill competition. Kong Lianhua said loudly on the pill competition altar. Kong Lianhua's words attracted a burst of cheers. Many people came here to participate in the pill competition with the purpose of activating the spirit Tao array in case the alchemy school opened it. 6 months was not a long time for a cultivator. If one could feel the great Tao aura under the alchemy school's spirit Tao array, it would be a dream come true. The alchemy school's spirit Tao array contained countless alchemy Tao aura. Once the spirit Tao array was activated, cultivators could not only feel their own great Tao aura and spirit techniques Tao aura, but they could also feel other lore-related spirit techniques. Ning Cheng stood up and cupped his fists. May I ask Association Master Kong, can I come out early after I fail in the third round? Kong Lianhua shook his head. No, you have to wait for all the alchemists to finish the competition before you can come out. Ning Cheng made a sighing expression and said, I won't hide it from Association Master Kong. I once refined dozens of heavenly essence pills in a lawless space, but all of them failed without exception. Later, I also obtained a dustless branch, but I still failed. Therefore, I will definitely fail in the third round. Instead of wasting divine grasses, I might as well admit defeat in advance. After saying that, Ning Cheng cupped his fists towards Kong Lianhua again and left the pill competition altar. Kong Lianhua didn't expect Ning Cheng to withdraw from the third round. Not only did Kong Lianhua not expect it, but the other alchemists and the audience also didn't expect it. Although Si Chin Chiu Tian knew that Ning Cheng had never refined dozens of heavenly essence pills, he didn't say anything and just showed a regretful expression. Mu Zuoxiao, who initiated the pill competition, frowned slightly. He was optimistic about Ning Cheng, but his only regret was that Ning Cheng's cultivation was too low. The third question was indeed a bit difficult for him, so it wasn't difficult for him to understand Ning Cheng's withdrawal. Unfortunately, the third question wasn't set by him, but by his master. At that time, his master once said that if someone could refine a heaven and earth ephemeral pill that surpassed the 8 elemental laws, then he would set the question of refining the heavenly essence pill in lawless space. If not, then he would set the previous question. But now, someone managed to refine a heaven and earth ephemeral pill with 9 elemental laws. However, the alchemist didn't participate in the third round at all. In fact, asking a Tao Nourishment Sacred Emperor to cultivate a dustless branch that contained the laws of heaven and earth was a bit too much. Mu Zuoxiao sighed. If he wanted to withdraw, then so be it. He would have to have a good chat with Ning Cheng later. Seeing Kong Lianhua look over, Mu Zuoxiao nodded and said, Alchemist Ning Cheng has withdrawn. The competition will continue. Seeing that Kong Lianhua didn't stop him from withdrawing, Ning Cheng felt slightly relieved. It was better not to participate in such a purposeful pill competition. Fortunately, Nianyan reminded him. Without Nianyan, he would have definitely participated in the third round of refining the heavenly essence pill. He might have even succeeded in the end. Ning Cheng had just sat down when Nianyan's voice transmission rang in his ear, I'll be leaving first. If you have time, you can leave in an hour and then go to Shallow Cloud Manor. Ning Qing didn't send a voice transmission back. He decided to believe in Nianyan. In any case, Nianyan didn't seem like the kind of person who would scheme against others. Chapter 1074. An hour later, when Ning Qing looked back, Nianyan had already disappeared. He pulled Qianqian beside him and the two walked out of the alchemy gate. At this moment, the third round of the pill competition had already begun, and the alchemy gate's spiritual Dao array had also opened. Many people were either paying attention to the third round of the pill competition or comprehending the Dao charm within the spiritual Dao array. There were many people paying attention to Ning Qing, but no one went to find Ning Qing at this time. Since Ning Qing left midway, then something must have happened. Wouldn't it leave a bad impression on others if they went to find him at this time? Ning Qing had entered the top 10 of the 5 realms pill competition, so he would definitely come back after the competition ended. Qianqian naturally had no objection to Ning Qing's decision. Since Ning Qing said to leave, she immediately left. After Ning Qing left the Great Alchemy City, he brought out an ordinary airship. The airship flew for just over an hour before Ning Qing saw Nianyan waiting in front of him. He quickly stopped and felt a little puzzled. Didn't Nianyan say that she would wait for him at the Shallow Cloud Villa? Why was she waiting for him outside the Great Alchemy City? Nianyan nodded to Ning Qing, put away her flight-type weapon, and brought the housekeeper to Ning Qing's airship. This should be Shallow Cloud Villa's Yin Qian, right? Nianyan also greeted Qianqian beside Ning Qing. Qianqian quickly bowed, yes, this junior is Shallow Cloud Villa's Yin Qian. Many thanks for taking care of Shallow Cloud Villa, senior. Pill Master Ning, do you still have a pill competition jade card on you? After greeting Qianqian, Nianyan immediately asked Ning Qing. Ning Qing nodded, took out the pill competition jade card and handed it to Nianyan. Nianyan took the jade card and looked at it for a while before saying, "This pill competition jade card has your mark on it. I suggest you seal it or put it in a place where it can't be sensed." "Then will there be a mark on me?" Ning Qing quickly asked. Nianyan smiled, "That won't be the case. The 5 Realms pill competition is a very fair and just competition. There are no conspiracies. I've seen the 5 Realms pill competition a few times. If I'm not wrong, the third question shouldn't be from Wuxia. If it was from Wuxia, you wouldn't have come here so easily. We'll talk about this later. Deal with this jade token first, then I'll take you to a safe place." "Wait a moment." Ning Qing finished and directly left the airship. His figure flashed a few times before disappearing. With his twin wings of the heavenly clouds, his speed was unparalleled for a short period of time. In just less than an incense stick worth of time, Ning Qing once again landed on the airship. Nianyan smiled and said, "Did Pill Master Ning leave that jade card in the rest stop?" Ning Qing nodded, "Yes, I did put the jade card in the rest stop." Whether it was the restriction on the jade card or the fact that it was thrown into the mysterious yellow bead, it meant that he had done it deliberately. Now that he had left the jade token in the rest stop, even if others guessed that he did it on purpose, it didn't mean anything. Nianyan did not say anything else. Instead, she threw out a few array flags and said, "Put away the flying boat. I will take you to a place now." Ning Qing put away his airship, while Nianyan took out a talisman. 2 breaths later, the talisman erupted with a light that seemed like space itself was collapsing. The few array flags that Nianyan had thrown out instantly turned into dust, and the 4 people wrapped in the space collapse of the talisman also disappeared. After landing on the ground, Ning Qing found that he was in a verdant bamboo garden. Not far in front of him, there were a few simple bamboo houses. From the outside, one could see that the bamboo houses did not have any restrictions blocking them. The spirit qi in this place was extremely rich, making it a cultivation sanctuary. Ning Qing felt sure that this was not the Shallow Cloud Villa. "Liang Kai, take Sister Qianshan to the bamboo house next to us to rest for a while. I have something to discuss with Pill Master Ning. Nianyan finished, smiled at Ning Cheng, and walked towards one of the bamboo houses. Ning Cheng gave Qianshan a reassuring look before following Nianyan towards the bamboo house. After entering the bamboo house, an aura of returning to nature gushed out, giving Ning Cheng a refreshing feeling. This place was clearly inside the bamboo house, but Ning Cheng could not feel the bamboo walls around the house. It was as if he was in the boundless nature. Ning Cheng knew that this should have something to do with array formations, but he could not feel the slightest trace of the array Dao. Senior Sister Nianyan's array Dao is far stronger than mine. I'm really a frog at the bottom of a well. Ning Cheng sighed and cupped his fists. This level of array Dao was something that he could not even catch up to. This was to integrate one's Dao charm with the surrounding laws of heaven and earth, and then integrate it into the array Dao, allowing people to immerse themselves in it. Nianyan smiled and motioned for Ning Cheng to sit down before pouring a cup of tea for Ning Cheng. Pill Master Ning, please have some tea. The entire action was a seamless whole, and it blended in with the surrounding natural aura without a trace. Ning Cheng took the spiritual tea and took a sip, then cupped his fists and said, "Many thanks, Senior Sister Nianyan, for reminding me. Otherwise, I would still be refining the Heavenly Heaven pill on the Alchemy Dao Sex pill stage." Senior Sister Nianyan, don't call me Pill Master Ning, just call me Ning Cheng. Nianyan nodded and asked, "Junior brother Ning Cheng, I feel an aura that surpasses the Heavenly Dao from you, so your achievements in the future will definitely surpass mine." Ning Cheng did not speak. He understood that Nianyan should have guessed that he had a top-grade treasure. Otherwise, she would not have told him to withdraw from the competition. At the same time, Ning Cheng also felt a little worried. Would others feel the same aura from him as Nianyan? As if sensing Ning Cheng's worries, Nianyan said, "Junior brother Ning, don't worry. In the Great Change Realm, apart from me, it would be hard to find a second person who can feel the same aura from you. This has nothing to do with cultivation, only with yourself." Hearing this sentence, Ning Cheng felt a little relieved. Since Nianyan spoke like this, she should not harm him. "Junior brother Ning, if I didn't remind you, do you think you could get the first place in this pill competition?" Nianyan suddenly asked. Ning Cheng hesitated for a moment before answering honestly, "If Senior Sister didn't stop me, I should be able to refine the Heavenly Heaven pill and have a high chance of getting the first place." Nianyan sighed, "Sure enough, Junior brother Ning. What I want to tell you is that the real first place in this 5 realms pill competition might not necessarily be you." Ning Cheng asked doubtfully, "I've seen the 10 people on the stage. Even Yu Guji is not necessarily much stronger than me." Nianyan smiled slightly, "Yu Guji is not as good as you, that's for sure. If he didn't use the 5 elements chaos chi, he wouldn't be able to refine the heaven and earth epiphyllum pill. That real powerhouse did not enter the top 10, or rather, he did not stand up and say that the pill he refined could enter the top 10. Ning Cheng's expression suddenly changed. "Senior Sister Nianyan, who is that person?" Ning Cheng also did not ask a question. Every alchemist on the pill competition altar had a transparent restriction around them. Although others could see, they were not allowed to use their spiritual consciousness to scan. How did Nianyan know that someone was stronger? "I noticed that his name is Zhu Qini, and he comes from the primordial beginning realm. If I'm not wrong, he should be a primordial essence pill saint." After Nianyan finished speaking, she did not wait for Ning Cheng to continue asking and took the initiative to explain, "The reason why I know this is because I cultivated the Dao Eye." Ning Cheng's heart trembled. He naturally knew about the Dao Eye. It was an eye that could see the laws of heaven and earth. Although the Dao Eye was so powerful, very few people could cultivate it. The reason why the Dao Eye was so difficult to cultivate was because of the extremely harsh conditions and the countless treasures of heaven and earth. More importantly, there was no cultivation method to cultivate the Dao Eye. If one's eyes were compatible with cultivating the Dao Eye, then one must first create a cultivation method that matched one's Dao eye. Even if Ning Cheng had the mysterious yellow bead and the mysterious yellow formless, he could not cultivate the Dao eye. Firstly, he did not meet the conditions, and secondly, he could not create a Dao eye cultivation method. Even if he met all the conditions, it would still take a lot of time and energy to cultivate the Dao eye. Generally speaking, who would be willing to spend time cultivating the Dao eye? Therefore, even if a few people cultivated the Dao eye, they could only use it under the lowest level of the laws of heaven and earth. Nian could see everything clearly under the restrictions of the 5 realms pill competition, which showed how powerful she was. In addition, I'm also a primordial essence pill saint. Hearing this, Ning Cheng did not have any intention of comparing himself. This woman was much more talented than him. With the Dao eye and being a primordial essence pill saint, it was no wonder that she could see so many things clearly. Ning Cheng was speechless. He had always been the one to beat others in cultivation and other aspects. Today, he was finally hit by this Nian. A primordial essence holy emperor, a primordial essence pill saint, an array Dao master much stronger than him, and a Dao eye cultivator. Ning Cheng suddenly remembered that the other party had used a talisman to teleport here. He immediately wanted to ask if the other party was also a top-notch talisman master. Nian did not care about Ning Cheng's look and continued. Zhu Chenyi's cultivation of the ephemeral epiphyllum was not very good, but when he refined the heaven and earth epiphyllum pill, he successfully integrated 9 types of nomological Dao runes. When he was about to succeed, he failed to condense the pill. According to my experience in the pill Dao, he deliberately failed. As for the reason, I do not know. Ning Cheng took in a breath of cold air. He could refine the heaven and earth epiphyllum pill that condensed 9 types of nomological Dao runes mainly because his grand Dao of returning to one had integrated into his pill Dao. Ning Cheng knew very well what kind of cultivation method his grand Dao of returning to one was. Who was this Zhu Chenyi? Why was he so powerful? He and Lu Dongzi had a good friendship. If Lu Dongzi knew that there was an expert like Zhu Chenyi in the primordial world, he would have definitely told him. That's why I said that if Zhu Chenyi brought out all his skills to participate in the 5 realms pill competition, it would be very difficult for you to beat him. It's not that your pill Dao is not as good as his, but that your cultivation is slightly weaker than his. Nian spoke very directly. Seeing Ning Cheng remain silent, she continued, I saw that when you cultivated the ephemeral epiphyllum, the technique you used belonged to the top-notch cultivation method. Even the cultivation method I created is not as good as Duo E. Later, when I saw the dustless branch, I guessed. Ning Cheng thought that this Nian was really confident. He did not wait for Nian to finish speaking before cupping his fists and saying, Thank you, senior sister Nian, for the reminder. Ning Cheng is very grateful. Because of my strength, I admit that I'm a primordial chaos divine emperor under normal circumstances. Actually, I know very well that a primordial chaos sacred emperor who doesn't experience primordial chaos decay can never be called a primordial chaos expert. Ning Cheng stood up and bowed to Nian. Senior apprentice sister Nian, please enlighten me. Because I come from the Grand Essence realm, the Grand Essence realm's heaven and earth laws are broken. Although there are some primordial chaos holy emperors, there's no such thing as primordial chaos decay. Nian said softly, out of the 5 great realms, only the Great Change realm has complete heaven-earth laws. Therefore, the sacred emperors that come from the Great Change realm are stronger than those of the same level. Cultivators defy the heavens, and when they advance in low-level starry sky realms, they would face the heavenly Tao law lightning tribulation. Once one reached the Tao, there would be a celestial decay. Chaotic blight was only the first of the heavens' blights. After stepping into the primordial chaos realm and experiencing the decline of the world, one would become a true expert of the world. Only then would one have the chance to reach the 3rd step of the Tao-seeking realm. The so-called decline was the exhaustion of one's mind, the withering of one's flesh and bones, the disorder of one's Tao aura, and the disappearance of one's divine abilities. If you can't survive this, the primordial chaos realm will be nothing but an illusion. In the worst case, your soul will be destroyed, and in the worst case, your primordial spirit will be blurred. Ning Cheng was secretly shocked. He suddenly remembered Li Feng of the mysterious crossing ancient clan. Did that guy look like this because he was crossing his first blight? Primordial chaos divine emperors that haven't experienced the first heaven's blight are called pseudo-primordial chaos divine emperors. This was the highest achievement a primordial chaos expert could achieve in his lifetime. It was impossible for him to step into a higher level. It was very difficult for primordial chaos sacred emperors to sense the decline of primordial chaos in this broken plane. Therefore, even late-stage primordial chaos cultivators are mostly pseudo-primordial chaos cultivators. Nyenyen's tone was very calm. She did not care about experiencing the first primordial chaos's blight. Senior Sister Nyenyen, what is Mu Zuoxiao's cultivation level? Did he not experience the first primordial chaos's blight? When I first saw him, I always suspected that he was a Dao integration expert. Ning Qing thought of Mu Zuoxiao's vast and boundless aura and suspected that he might even be a Dao integration expert. Nyenyen smiled slightly. Mu Zuoxiao's master is a top-notch expert. I guess he should have experienced the first heaven's blight long ago. As for Dao integration, he is not one. No Dao integration experts participated in this 5 realms pill competition. Dao confirmation has 3 steps, and Dao integration is the second step. To become a true Dao integration expert, one must experience the second Dao integration. What's the third step of Dao confirmation? Ning Qing blurted out. He knew from many people that Dao confirmation had 3 steps. Dao integration was only the highest realm in the Great Essence realm. The highest realm in the Great Change realm was obviously not Dao integration. Nyenyen sighed again. In the 5 grand realms, I'm afraid that the highest realm that can be reached is Dao integration. Maybe some people have surpassed Dao integration, but these people have never appeared. I have been deducing the third step of Dao confirmation, but I have not come to any conclusion. I have read countless ancient books in the Great Change realm over the years, but there is no higher realm. The reason I brought you here today is actually for the third step of Dao validation. Ning Qing spoke with a cautious tone, Senior Apprentice Sister Nyenyen, please instruct me. He admired Nyenyen's monstrous talent and wisdom. If he could help, he would not refuse. Nyenyen bowed to Ning Qing and said, I deduced the third step of Dao confirmation, which is to first create a world. The laws of this world must be higher than the laws of the 5 grand realms. I can't create this world, but I know that there are some good fortune treasures in the universe. These good fortune treasures not only have top-notch good fortune cultivation methods, but they also have their own good fortune world. When Nyenyen said this, Ning Qing understood. Senior Apprentice Sister Nyenyen, do you want to enter the good fortune world and then comprehend the good fortune world's laws? To deduce the third step of Dao confirmation? Nyenyen nodded and looked at Ning Qing. Yes, that's what I think. I have a world. If Senior Apprentice Sister Nyenyen doesn't mind, you can go to my world to have a look. Ning Qing said in a deep voice. He understood that Nyenyen already knew that he had a good fortune world. With Nyenyen's cultivation, even if she didn't discuss it with him and forcibly seized it, he wouldn't be able to do anything. Many thanks, Junior Apprentice Brother Ning. Nyenyen said calmly. Ning Qing also secretly appreciated Nyenyen's open-mindedness. If he didn't have good intentions, as long as Nyenyen entered his mysterious yellow bead, even if Nyenyen was a primordial essence holy emperor, he would have a way to suppress her. However, Nyenyen didn't seem to consider this at all. Senior Apprentice Sister Nyenyen, please open your mind. As Ning Qing spoke, he had already entered the mysterious yellow bead with Nyenyen, who had opened her mind. Nyenyen stood in the vast and boundless Xianhuang world and was extremely shocked. This was a world with higher laws than the Great Change realm. Even if this world wasn't perfect yet, the clear laws had allowed her to understand a lot of Tao charm that she couldn't understand before. Ning Qing didn't disturb Nianyan. He deliberately went to see Yan Ji, who had been cultivating in seclusion. Yan Ji was still in seclusion, but Ning Qing could feel that Yan Ji's cultivation had improved very quickly from her aura. Not knowing how long it took, Nianyan came to Ning Cheng's side. Junior apprentice brother Ning, I didn't expect you to perfect the good fortune mysterious yellow bead to this degree. Ning Qing felt very satisfied in his heart. Since he obtained the mysterious yellow bead had been continuously perfected. Where did you get that mulberry tree from? Nianyan pointed to a giant lush tree in the distance and asked. Is that mulberry tree? Ning Qing asked in surprise. Nianyan nodded, yes, this is one of the top 10 spiritual roots, the mulberry tree. Cultivating under this tree, one's mind would be at peace, and one's comprehension of Tao intent would be faster. When experiencing the decline of heaven and earth, this tree can even protect one's mind. Moreover, under the mulberry tree, it is especially suitable for women to cultivate. You can say that this tree is a priceless treasure. Ning Qing took in a deep breath. He didn't expect the tree in the mysterious yellow bead to be so precious. After a while, Ning Qing said, I didn't know that this tree was called mulberry tree. When I obtained the mysterious yellow bead, this tree was already inside it. It was just that this tree was withered at first. Later, I gradually perfected the mysterious yellow bead, and this tree also came to life on its own. Nianyan understood that this tree in the mysterious yellow bead must have been left behind by the previous owner. But for some unknown reason, the previous owner had fallen. Not only did Ning Qing obtain the mysterious yellow bead, but even the mulberry tree fell into Ning Qing's hands. Thank you, junior apprentice brother Ning. I gained a lot in the mysterious yellow bead. I saw a woman here, who had taken the 16 soul pill, but has not woken up until now. Ning Qing knew that Nianyan was talking about Sun Hanrui, so he quickly explained, she is a friend of mine. When she was in a low-level interface, her spirit soul had shattered, leaving only her corporeal body. It was not until a few years ago that I gave her a 16 soul pill, but I don't know why, but she still hasn't woken up. Nianyan gave an N sound, junior apprentice brother Ning, if you believe me, then give her to me. I know the reason, and I can even save her. Ning Qing and Nianyan had known each other for a long time, and did not doubt Nianyan at all. He also believed that Nianyan would not deceive him about this kind of thing, so he quickly bowed and thanked her. Ning Qing thanks senior apprentice sister Nianyan on behalf of junior apprentice sister Hanrui. Nianyan nodded, raised her hand, and swept away Sun Hanrui along with the array formation restrictions around her, before saying, let's go out. The two returned to the bamboo house, and Nianyan walked out of the door of the bamboo house, before turning to Ning Qing and speaking, junior apprentice brother Ning, in the future, if you can reach the third step of the Grand Tao, and if you don't rely too much on the mysterious yellow bead, your achievements would be even greater. In addition, my bamboo house also has some of my insights into the Tao of pills and the Tao of arrays, as well as my cultivation. If junior apprentice brother Ning is interested, you can refer to them. This bamboo forest will be given to junior apprentice brother Ning. I'm leaving now, let's meet again in the future. Watching Nianyan leave with Liang Kai on a flight-type weapon, Ning Qing suddenly felt a sense of loss in his heart. Chapter 1076. Big Brother Ning, what should we do now? Qianqian came over and asked. There are still 6 months before the third round of the 5 Realms pill competition. We'll wait here for a day and head to the underground abyss a day later. Ning Qing made up his mind after a little thought. Nianyan didn't know when Ao Beijiang would return. Ao Beijiang might come back after a few years, or he might come back tomorrow. He had to do everything he could before Ao Beijiang came back. Okay. Qianqian didn't ask why Ning Qing wanted to wait here for a day. She believed that Ning Qing had his own reasons. Ning Qing did have his own reasons. Nian was the most talented woman he had ever seen since he started cultivating. It seemed that there was nothing she didn't know. Ning Qing naturally didn't want to miss the handwritten notes left by such a powerhouse in the bamboo house. Returning to the bamboo house, Ning Qing saw that there were a few things on the bamboo platform that he had left behind. When Ning Qing came closer, he saw that there were 2 books and a talisman, along with a jade strip. Ning Qing immediately picked up the jade strip and swept his spiritual consciousness inside. A clear locational map appeared in his spiritual consciousness. Under this locational map, there was also a message from Nian, junior apprentice brother Ning Qing. This jade strip's locational map points to this place. I've arranged an extremely concealing array formation in this bamboo forest. Without this jade strip, ordinary people shouldn't be able to find this place. However, Ao Beijiang is not an ordinary person, so I also left a talisman. If Ao Beijiang can find this place, this talisman can help you leave the Great Change realm. In the universe, you're not the only one with a good fortune treasure. It's not impossible for someone with a good fortune treasure to fall in the end. I've left 2 books here. One is my experience in alchemy and array Dao, and the other is my cultivation experience. I hope it can help you, Nian. Ning Qing picked up the book and opened it. Many ideas that he had never thought of appeared in the book, letting Ning Qing know that the value of these 2 books definitely surpassed many top-grade treasures. Scorched Tree Temple. Although it was called a temple, Ning Qing actually saw an ancient tree. Ning Qing put away the time wheel and stood in front of this ancient tree with Qianqian. Apart from the mysterious fairy ancient clan's growth rings, he couldn't find anything comparable to this tree. This tree stretched for tens of thousands of miles and had countless caves on its surface. Even Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness could not sweep deeper into these tree holes. The annual ring was a transparent tree, and one's divine sense couldn't penetrate it. This tree was withered. To be exact, this tree was already dead. Regardless of whether it was the branches or the trunk, they were all emitting a deathly aura and gray aura. There was not the slightest hint of green and vitality. I heard that the location of this scorched tree was originally a temple, and the scorched tree was just a tree behind the temple. Later, the scorched tree grew bigger and finally swallowed up the temple. However, the scorched tree did not continue to grow because its roots were contaminated by the monsters in the underground abyss and eventually withered. There are countless tree holes around this scorched tree, and we can enter all of them. Qianqian looked at the huge ancient tree in front of her and sighed. Ning Qing replied, "Are these tree holes the entrance to the underground abyss?" Qianqian nodded, "Yes, in the beginning, we all entered the trial from here." After a pause, Qianqian hesitated before speaking, that Yuanji said that when the monsters in the underground abyss erupted, the Grand Change Realm's powerhouses sealed off the deeper parts of the underground abyss. I don't see anyone nearby, and I don't know if we will be stopped if we go in. Although Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness couldn't penetrate deeper, he could clearly see that these tree holes were indeed intertwined with each other. Each tree hole looked like a twisted staircase that extended deep into the ground. Further down, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness couldn't penetrate any deeper. "Come on, let's go in first. There are no restrictions on the outside, so we should be able to go in." After Ning Cheng confirmed that there wasn't too much danger, he greeted Qianqian and took the initiative to walk towards the giant tree. He had also heard Yuanji's words. Regardless of whether there were restrictions or not, Ning Cheng intended to go in and have a look. As Ning Cheng said, he and Qianqian did not encounter any obstacles and easily entered one of the tree holes. A gloomy aura came over, which made Ning Cheng a little uncomfortable. He had been to the underworld and felt the yin qi aura of the underworld. However, the yin qi in the underworld was completely different from the gloomy yin qi here. The stairs in the tree hole seemed endless, and from these irregular stairs, Ning Cheng could see that these stairs were slowly formed by people who came later. Around these stairs were intertwined thick tree roots, which looked like the internal blood vessels of the human body. Originally, as soon as we entered this place, there were already demonic creatures. Now that we've been walking for so long, no demonic creatures have come out. I don't know if it's because a powerhouse sealed the place below. Qianqian spoke to Ning Cheng with a sound transmission. Ning Cheng responded casually. His voice wasn't loud, but under this tree hole, it felt as if it had been amplified 100 times, and the echoes were few and far between. Qianqian quickly spoke up, "This is still under the tree roots. Once there is no echo, it means that we have already entered the range of the underground abyss. We can only walk slowly in this place. If we walk too fast, we might end up torn apart by tiny spatial cracks." "There are spatial cracks under these tree roots?" Ning Cheng asked in amazement. "A tree with a spatial crack under it, what kind of tree was it?" Qianqian gave an "n" sound. "Yes, although the magic crystals of the underground demonic creatures are precious, those spatial cracks are also very powerful. If one is not careful, one can fall under it and become nutrients for the scorched tree. Many people who came here never went out again. It was also a stroke of luck that I survived that time." Hearing about becoming nutrients for the tree, Ning Cheng's heart moved slightly. However, he didn't feel any vitality from this tree. If he felt the vitality of this tree, he would have suspected that those spatial cracks were generated by this tree. After a few hours, a cobweb-like ripple appeared in front of Ning Cheng and Qianqian. Ning Cheng then stopped. "Through this spatial ripple, we will enter the range of the underground abyss. This spatial ripple is similar to a teleportation array. It doesn't cause any harm, and when you come back, it won't move. It looks like UNG lied to us. This place isn't sealed." Qianqian pointed to the cobweb-like spatial ripple in front of them. She didn't say a word. Since it wasn't sealed, why didn't they see anyone until now? Ning Cheng nodded, "I understand. It turns out that the underground abyss is another world, not the Grand Change Realm at all. It's just adjacent to the Grand Change Realm. This cobweb should be a boundary barrier." To be honest, this was the first time Ning Cheng had seen such a thin boundary barrier. Generally, if he wanted to go from one world to another, he would find himself separated by an endless void. If he was not careful, he would get lost in the void. Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Qianqian spoke up, "Many people think that the underground abyss isn't the Grand Change Realm. I also think so. It's just that I always feel that the two worlds are separated by something a bit strange." Ning Cheng showed a slight smile, "It's normal. Let's go in and talk." Ning Cheng passed through this spatial ripple, and it felt like a breeze blowing through him. He didn't feel any spatial teleportation or collapse. No wonder Qianqian felt that this place didn't feel like two worlds. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept back, but no matter how much his spiritual consciousness penetrated, it couldn't pass through the spatial ripple. This is already within the scope of the underground abyss. When I came here before, there were people everywhere. I didn't expect that we wouldn't meet a single person until now," Qianqian said with a sigh. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out, but there wasn't any light around. Everything under his feet was black, and it felt like a boulder. Occasionally, some of the bones emitted a fluorescent light, making people feel the darkness here. The gloomy aura grew even stronger. Just as Qianqian said, within the range of his spiritual consciousness, he didn't see a single living person, nor a single demonic creature. "Can you remember the way?" Ning Cheng asked Qianqian beside him. Qianqian gave an "n" sound, "I remember. I've been to this underground abyss many times. Big brother Ning, follow me." After Qianqian finished, she identified a direction and quickly moved forward. After entering this place, Qianqian seemed to become even more excited and started moving faster and faster. Ning Cheng's cultivation was much higher than Qianqian's. Therefore, no matter how fast Qianqian moved, it wouldn't affect him. After Qianshan walked for more than half an hour, Ning Cheng's void cold light spear suddenly appeared in his hand. At the same time, he raised his hand and fired a shot at Qianshan's side. A shrill scream rang out, and a white crystal with a hint of gray fell to the ground. Demonic creature. Qianshan stopped and spoke up in shame, "Big brother Ning, my cultivation has greatly decreased, and I was anxious about big sister Shi. I didn't even notice the demonic creature's sneak attack." Ning Cheng waved his hand and interrupted Qianshan's words. He reached out and grabbed the white crystal with a hint of gray from the ground and asked, "Qianshan, is this a demonic crystal?" Qianshan nodded, "Well, this is a demonic crystal. This demonic crystal contains all kinds of clear aura of the laws of heaven and earth. It's most suitable for cultivators to comprehend the Tao charm." Ning Cheng frowned slightly, "But this demonic crystal isn't pure. I can feel a lot of messy aura in it. It's not suitable for cultivation." Qianshan shook her head, "I don't know what's going on. The demonic crystals that appeared in the past were very pure. These demonic crystals are crystal clear, and apart from the aura of the laws of heaven and earth, they don't have any impurities. Is the body of a demonic creature made up of all kinds of Tao charm? Apart from the demonic crystal, does it have any substance?" Ning Cheng asked again. He had seen a dark shadow sneak attack Qianshan just now. After he killed the dark shadow, only this demonic crystal remained. Qianshan spoke up with certainty, "No, demonic creatures are definitely not made up of Tao charm. Although their demonic crystals contain the Tao charm laws of heaven and earth, I don't know what they are made up of. As for what they are made of, I don't know either. I only know that some very powerful monsters have physical bodies." As soon as Qianshan spoke up to hear, she felt a burst of fluctuations in front of her. The space around her and Ning Cheng also began to distort. "Big brother Ning, the reason why I could see big sister Shi last time was because of the spatial fluctuations of this underground abyss that swept me away." Not only did Qianshan not panic, but she also sped up her speech. Chapter 1077. I'll go over and take a look. Your cultivation level is too low. How about entering my true spirit world? Ning Cheng looked at Qianshan and said. Qianshan's cultivation level was too low. Apart from pointing the way, she couldn't help much here. Qianshan knew that she was too weak and immediately responded, "Okay, I'll enter the true spirit world." After Ning Cheng sent Qianshan into the true spirit world, he brought out the everlasting blue thunder city. Then, he clenched the void cold light spear and rushed into the distorted spatial fluctuations on the opposite side. He also knew that it would be difficult to find Shi using this method. Maybe Qianshan had been swept away by this distorted spatial flow. Who knew if the spatial flow Qianshan encountered was in the same direction as the current spatial flow? Ning Cheng could only use this method. Apart from saying that Qianshan had been swept away by this spatial flow, there was no other reference. The moment Ning Cheng rushed into the spatial fluctuations, the violent and distorted spatial flow swept Ning Cheng away. Ning Cheng's everlasting blue thunder city had shrunk to the point where it could only wrap around him. However, this spatial flow did not harm him at all. Within the everlasting blue thunder fort, Ning Cheng could clearly feel that this spatial flow was moving in a certain direction. However, there were no spatial cracks or spatial collapses in the middle. The surging spatial flow blasted around the everlasting blue thunder city and splashed out thunder light. However, it couldn't shake the everlasting blue thunder city at all. After a few hours, the spatial flow weakened and then slowly disappeared. Ning Cheng put away the everlasting blue thunder city and landed on the ground. Endless white bones were stacked under his feet, and all kinds of broken magic weapons were scattered everywhere. The land of white bones extended outwards, forming one seal after another. Each seal and restriction was a huge altar. The seals formed by these altars looked like a row of street lights. They were not only neat but also standardized. Ning Cheng's gaze moved away from the seals and restrictions and fell on the three cultivators. There were 2 men and 1 woman. The woman's hair was slightly pink, her body was curvy, and she had a coquettish aura. The 2 men were both very tall. One of them was very handsome, but he looked a little thin and weak. The other person looked ordinary, but he was very strong. Among the 3, the woman had a Dao transformation cultivation, the handsome man was at the late stage Dao birth, and the strong man was also at the Dao transformation cultivation. This was the first time Ning Cheng saw another cultivator since he followed Qianqian into the underground abyss. He did not know why, but Ning Cheng felt that these 3 people were somewhat strange. "Did you come here alone?" The handsome man also looked at Ning Cheng in doubt, and then took the initiative to ask. Ning Cheng cupped his fists and spoke, "That's right. Because my perception was somewhat stagnant, I wanted to come in and see if I could find any demonic crystals." He didn't expect to find a magic crystal, but it wasn't a pure color. "Are the 3 of you the same as me? Are you here to look for mana crystals?" The handsome man nodded. "That's right. The 3 of us are here to look for magic crystals." If he wanted to find a pure mana crystal, he could only do so in this seal. It was just that this place had been sealed by a powerful being and could no longer be entered. "Here, we can only occasionally catch 1 or 2. Ning Cheng, on hearing the words of this handsome male cultivator, suddenly felt surprised in his heart, husband and wife. If it was a man and 2 women, he would feel that it was normal to say that it was a couple. But there were 2 men and 1 woman, it was really hard for him to accept. Then, he shook his head. He came from Earth's Wuxia and was influenced by Huaxia's culture. Maybe people would think that it was normal for a woman to find 2 men. However, Ning Cheng finally understood one thing. Yuanji's words did not lie to him and Qianqian. The powerhouses of the Grand Change Realm had indeed come here to arrange a seal. However, the seal was not outside, but in the depths of this place. The seal of this underground abyss shouldn't be in this place, right? Don't you want to go to other places to have a look? Ning Cheng took the opportunity to ask this question. In fact, he didn't know if the seal of the underground abyss was only in this place. The handsome male cultivator shook his head. Naturally not. There are a total of 5 places sealed in the underground abyss, and this is just one of them. In fact, we came from another place. The enchanting female cultivator suddenly giggled. "This elder brother, I have an idea. Since everyone's purpose is the same, why don't we join forces to enter the seal and obtain the demonic crystals?" Even if this female cultivator didn't say it, Ning Cheng had already planned to enter the seal. If she used her pure body to suppress the demonic creatures here, then it definitely wouldn't be outside the seal. "How do we enter?" Ning Cheng asked casually. "The 4 of us can form a 4-kill splitting seal array, and I'll be the array heart. At that time, I'll use the blood sacrifice to activate the array, and the 3 of you can use your full strength to break through a gap in the seal and enter the underground abyss." The enchanting woman stopped smiling and spoke with a straight face. No, little sister Huan, you're a woman. How can you take such a risk? Let me do it." The slightly thinner but handsome male cultivator immediately stopped her. The woman called Little Sister Huan glanced at Ning Cheng's trio with a flirtatious look. "I'm a woman with a yin attribute, and you 3 men with a yang attribute. The stronger you are, the safer I would be. If you're afraid that I'll be in danger, then you must be strong." When Ning Cheng heard these words, the trace of unease in his heart finally became clear. No wonder he felt a little strange when he first arrived. It was because these 3 people all exuded a strong yin qi. Even if the male cultivator cultivated a yin-attributed cultivation method, it shouldn't have felt like this. On the contrary, he could feel the aura of demonic creatures coming from these 3 people. This aura shouldn't be caused by hunting demonic creatures for a long time. Was it possible that these three people were transformed from demonic creatures? If that was the case, it would be too amazing. Ning Cheng couldn't even see through this kind of transformation. Moreover, only demonic creatures could cast such a spirit technique. He had just met these three people, so he couldn't use his spiritual consciousness to spy on them, could he? At this moment, when he heard little sister Huan's words, Ning Cheng felt even more certain about the strangeness of these three people. He was also an array Dao master, so he naturally knew about the 4-kill crack seal formation. It was a special formation used to tear seals. Sometimes, one might not necessarily be able to break the seal, but one could still enter the seal. However, the 4 people who formed the 4-kill crack seal formation had to work together. If the other 3 people blasted that kind of killing power on one person at the same time, that person would die no matter how strong he was. What puzzled Ning Cheng was that these 3 people were clearly much stronger than him. So why would they use this method to deal with a Dao birth cultivator like him? What does this Dao friend think? After little sister Huan finished speaking, she looked at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng smiled, I don't know much about the 4-kill crack seal formation. You tell me how to do it. It's very simple. We'll occupy 4 positions. Dao friend, you can occupy the can position. After I throw out my array flags, you can immediately attack the DUI position. The stronger the better, little sister Huan said with a smile. Ning Cheng nodded, that's simple. Let's do it. If he really did this, his power would immediately be suppressed to the can position. At that time, if the other 3 people attacked him, he could only watch helplessly. Although Ning Cheng believed that even if he couldn't figure out the origins of these 3 people, he wouldn't be suppressed by them. But now that he knew about it, he wouldn't stand on ceremony. He really wanted to enter the seal. Since these 3 people wanted to attack him, he naturally had to make use of them. The 4 people quickly took their positions. Because little sister Huan stood in the heart of the array, Ning Cheng also occupied the can position. Let's do it. Little sister Huan saw Ning Cheng ready and threw out an array flag. At the same time, a powerful torrent of Yin Qi swept towards Ning Cheng. With the 3 people attacking at the same time, even if Ning Cheng could block their power, he would still suffer. Ning Cheng threw out a dozen array flags almost at the same time as little sister Huan's order. At the same time, his spirit essence also crazily poured out. Originally, if he wanted to break the seal and enter, he would need Qianqian's help. But now, a few people came to help him for free. The various violent forces didn't wrap around Ning Cheng. Instead, under the guidance of Ning Cheng's array flags, they turned into a sharp torrent and blasted at the edge of the seal altar. Ning Cheng raised his hand, and the void cold light spear directly tore through the distance between him and the other 3 people, bringing with it a cold killing intent. If these 2 men and 1 woman hadn't targeted Ning Cheng's spear wouldn't have been able to do anything to them. But now that the 3 of them were dealing with Ning Cheng's void cold light spear easily tore through their bodies. He's playing tricks. Little sister Huan finally understood and screamed. But her scream was too late. The 3 people were swept by Ning Cheng's cold light spear at the same time. The next moment, they fell to the ground. Ning Cheng didn't care about the 3 people at all. Instead, his spirit essence continued to crazily pour into the 4-kill shattering seal array. Boom boom boom. The altar trembled slightly at this time. Unfortunately, even with the power of the 3 people drawn in by Ning Cheng, it was still too weak to break the altar. Ning Cheng raised his hand and swallowed an explosive spirit pill. If he didn't take advantage of this opportunity to tear the altar apart, once the power of the 3 people he killed disappeared, it would become even more difficult for him to tear this place apart. Pill Sage Ning really lives up to his reputation. You unexpectedly came here unknowingly. Fortunately, I kept a close eye on you. With this voice, a terrifying aura rushed over and locked onto Ning Cheng. Although this aura was still in a distant place, Ning Qing felt his mind becoming unstable. Lu Fangzhen. Ning Qing felt horrified. He had actually forgotten about Lu Fangzhen. Damn it. Hey, even the three of them died to you. You still want to enter the seal, you're courting death. Lu Fangzhen, who was still in the distance, discovered that Ning Qing had killed the three people and immediately became furious. At this moment, the three people lying on the ground no longer looked like humans. Although they did not disappear, long black hair slowly grew out of their bodies. Ning Qing didn't have the mood to care about these three demonic creatures. The power of the explosive spirit pill surged towards him, and he almost used all his strength to blast this power into the four-killing crack seal array. Once Lu Fangzhen arrived in front of him, he would have no other way but to use the talisman given to him by Ninian to escape. Qi. The killing intent that tore through space directly crossed space, and the space around Ning Qing began to shake wildly. Primordial Chaos Holy Emperor, so powerful. Lu Fangzhen had not yet arrived in front of him, but this killing intent was not something he could resist. In just a breath's time, the violent killing intent swept over Ning Qing. Poof! Ning Qing spat out several blood arrows in succession, and Lu Fangzhen's terrifying spatial spirit essence power was also transferred into the four-killing crack seal array by Ning Qing. Catcha! Ning Qing's explosive spirit pill could not break the seal. But with the addition of Lu Fangzhen's spirit essence, a slight sound emerged, and a gap finally appeared in the seal in front of Ning Qing. Ning Qing almost didn't think about it and rushed into the gap. Chapter 1078. While rushing into the cracked seal, Ning Qing threw out a bead. It was the god-slaying bead that he had condensed after cutting off his spiritual consciousness. The god-slaying bead was strong, but Ning Qing also knew that it could only deal with Tao Essence Holy Emperors, and it could only block them for a few breaths. Against a primordial chaos Holy Emperor, the god-slaying bead was no different from a stone. But Ning Qing had no other choice. As long as the god-slaying bead could delay Lu Fangzhen for a breath, no, even half a breath was enough. Half a breath was enough for him to repair the crack in the seal. With Lu Fangzhen's strength, once he rushed into the seal, he wouldn't be able to escape. Boom! A violent spiritual consciousness blade light exploded behind Ning Qing. Ning Qing rushed into the seal, and the god-slaying bead's spiritual consciousness blade light exploded, while Lu Fangzhen rushed in front of the crack in the seal. These things happened almost at the same time. Even if Lu Fangzhen was a primordial chaos Holy Emperor, he had never seen such a sharp spiritual consciousness blade light like the god-slaying bead. He didn't know how powerful this god-slaying bead was, so he quickly moved aside and brought out a weapon to block it. Although he was sure that this bead didn't have much lethality against him, he didn't dare to underestimate Ning Qing. He had underestimated Ning Qing several times, but now Ning Qing was in front of Wuxia. By the time he found out that this god-slaying bead didn't have any follow-up power and couldn't affect him at all, the crack in the seal that Ning Qing had torn with the four-kill splitting seal array had already closed. Lu Fangzhen sneered and didn't try to break the seal. He knew the situation inside the seal. If Ning Qing entered the seal, he would die without a doubt. After Ning Qing fell into the seal, he coughed up another arrow of blood, and his entire body withered. Primordial Chaos Holy Emperors were just too strong. Regardless of whether Lu Fangzhen had experienced Deva's blight or not, Lu Fangzhen's strength wasn't something he could hope to match. When Lu Fangzhen suppressed his aura, he was at least thousands of miles away from him. Even so, he almost died. If he weren't a body-forging cultivator and proficient in array formations, he wouldn't have had the chance to enter the seal. At this moment, Ning Qing really wanted to use the twin wings of the heavenly clouds to escape. At the very least, he needed to rest for a while to recover. Ning Qing even tightened his grip on the talisman. If Lu Fangzhen continued to chase after him, then he could only use the talisman to escape. Fortunately, Lu Fangzhen did not follow him in, and the seal was completely sealed. Bursts of mournful rustling sounds reminded Ning Cheng of his current situation. He was in the depths of the underground abyss. After swallowing a few pills, Ning Cheng finally had the opportunity to look at the surroundings. There was still a glimmer of light where he was. This should be the edge of the seal. As he went further in, it was completely dark. But in this pitch-black darkness, Ning Cheng could clearly see a huge blood pillar, and on this blood pillar was nailed a young girl. The young girl's head was drooping, and her whole body was naked. Ning Cheng could only feel the girl's vitality and death aura entangling together. He could also feel a drop of blood dripping down from the top of the blood pillar. These blood droplets fell on the girl's body before sliding down. It looked extremely strange. The jet-black aura lingered around the blood pillar, unable to spread. The young girl's body twitched slightly. It was obvious that she was constantly suffering. Is this she, her? Ning Cheng felt shocked and quickly stood up. This was a bit too miserable. However, Ning Cheng quickly understood that this wasn't she, her, because he saw a similar blood pillar further away from this blood pillar. This blood pillar also had an identical naked girl nailed to it. Ning Cheng's heart filled with anger. Even if they wanted to suppress the demonic creatures, they shouldn't use this method, right? This kind of pure body suppression was reserved for the kindest of girls. If they had even the slightest bit of evil, they couldn't be used for pure body suppression. These powerhouses in the Great Change Realm used other people's kindness as a means to suppress the demonic creatures. Sure enough, the kind people would be bullied. If it were him, he would rather have all the cultivators in the Great Change Realm fight against these demonic creatures than use such a despicable method. Ning Cheng called out Qianqian and asked, Qianqian, do you think the person on this blood pillar is she, her? After Qianqian came out and saw the thick black fog around her, she immediately understood that she had reached the depths of the underground abyss. When her gaze fell on the naked woman on the blood pillar, she suddenly screamed and covered her mouth with her hand. But she couldn't stop her tears from flowing out. She's not big sister she-er, big sister she-er. Qianqian couldn't go on. Since the other women here were so miserable, she could imagine what big sister she-er's fate was like. Just as Qianqian started to speak, a cold aura swarmed over. The cold aura carried the call of death. Although there were only rustling sounds, Ning Cheng and Qianqian could hear the call of death. Demonic creatures, endless demonic creatures. Qianqian almost screamed. She saw endless black shadows swarming towards her and Ning Cheng. Her face instantly turned gray. Facing such terrifying demonic creatures, no matter how strong Ning Cheng was, he would only end up dead. Ning Cheng snorted and raised his hand. A pale white arch bridge rose out of thin air, and a blood river surged under the bridge. The 5 flying characters at the head of the bridge shone with a clear Dao charm amidst the chilly wind. First bridge of coping. After the arch bridge appeared, the swarming demonic creatures were like moths flying into a flame. They all rushed up and quickly rushed back into the blood river. As these demonic creatures rushed into the first bridge of coping, the blood river roared even louder, and the blood-red color grew even brighter. The paleness of the first bridge of coping also grew brighter and brighter. It even made people's souls tremble at a glance. The chilly wind howled at the head of the first bridge of coping. This chilly wind seemed different from the cold yin qi brought by the demonic creatures, but it could easily sweep away the forest's yin qi. This is the first bridge of coping of the 7 bridges spirit techniques. Qianqian murmured. She hadn't seen the 7 bridges spirit technique, but it didn't mean that she didn't know about it. She looked at Ning Cheng with respect and fear. This big brother Ning Cheng that big brother Pan Qian knew was too strong. Not only was he a top-grade Dao Essence Pill Saint, but he also possessed the 7 bridges spirit technique. No return in life, no retreat in death. Once you enter, you will never return. Amid the whimpering chilly wind, a whining sound emerged. Even Qianqian, who stood next to Ning Cheng, could see it clearly. Qianqian, I want to let go of these women nailed to the blood pillars. Ning Cheng glanced at Qianqian, who still looked frightened, and said in a deep voice. Qianqian hesitated and asked, Big Brother Ning, if you let go of the women nailed to the blood pillars, wouldn't it? Although Qianqian didn't explain it, Ning Cheng understood what Qianqian meant. Qianqian asked him if there would be a problem with the seal, which would cause the demonic creatures to rush out of the underground abyss. He sighed and said, these blood pillars lock the place where the underground demonic creatures erupt. If I let go of these women, the seal would become unstable. I estimate that in a few decades, these demonic creatures would erupt completely. Qianqian spoke up firmly, Big Brother Ning, I think you're doing the right thing. Since we're all from the Great Change Realm, we shouldn't let some women bear the suffering and misery, not to mention that they are the purest and kindest people. Every cultivator from the Great Change Realm has the responsibility to fight against these demonic creatures. Ning Cheng didn't answer Qianqian's words. His thoughts were similar to Qianqian's. Nailing these women to the blood pillars, using their pure souls to suppress the filthiest underground demonic creatures, and not letting them die completely. They had to endure the terrible burning of filth at every moment, and their souls and bodies would suffer the ravages. How tragic would it be? He intended to spend a few decades studying array formations and cultivating. After a few decades, he would come back to suppress the underground demonic creatures again. Even if he couldn't suppress these demonic creatures after a few decades, he would not hesitate to let go of these girls nailed to the blood pillars. His grand Tao also didn't allow him to ignore it. He cultivated the Tao of returning to one. Good and evil ultimately came down to good and evil, not good and evil. What's more, he had already begun to comprehend the karma spirit technique. The karma spirit technique was all about good and evil. Ning Cheng's first bridge of coping took away the endless demonic creatures and directly merged them into the tumbling blood river before disappearing. Ning Cheng walked up to the first blood pillar and raised his hand to throw out one array flag after another. The jet-black filthy gas around the blood pillar began to dissipate, and the restrictions nailing the girl also began to loosen. After half an incense stick worth of time, the restrictions around the girl completely disappeared. The girl then slid down the blood pillar and slumped to the ground. She looked up at Ning Cheng and Qianqian standing in front of her, and then at the first bridge of coping behind Ning Cheng. Her pale face finally showed a trace of relief, and she weakly said, "Thank you for freeing me from my suffering and giving me a chance to reincarnate. Mu Ge is eternally grateful." After saying this, the girl named Mu Ji's body gradually turned into a bright light and disappeared into the space. Soon, her entire body disappeared. Qianqian wiped her tears again. This elder sister is going to reincarnate. Ning Cheng naturally saw that this girl was going to reincarnate, but he didn't stop her. No one could bear this kind of suffering. Even if they were saved, it would be difficult to have the courage to live. Reincarnation was the best way. First, second. Ning Cheng and Qianqian kept rescuing these girls nailed to the blood pillars in the endless underground abyss. As one girl after another was rescued by Ning Cheng, the demonic creatures in the underground abyss grew more and more restless. Ning Cheng turned a blind eye to it and continued to rescue these innocent girls nailed to the blood pillars. But behind him, in addition to the first bridge of coping, there was now a second village viewing bridge. You're not helping people. You're harming people. You'll harm the entire Grand Change Realm. When Ning Cheng rescued the 81st girl, a weak voice appeared in Ning Cheng's ear. Who is it? Ning Cheng immediately turned his gaze to the place where the voice came from and soon saw the person who said that he was harming people. It was an old man who looked like the bark of an old tree in winter. His entire body had shrunk into a ball and was curled up in a depression on a boulder. Layers of jet-black mist surrounded him, but it didn't affect him in the slightest. Chapter 1079. I'm a gatekeeper. The bark-faced old man coughed a few times before stretching his body a little. Gatekeeper. Ning Cheng retreated a little before staring at the curled-up old man cautiously. He could see that this old man had a strong cultivation and was no weaker than Lu Fangzhen. He should have been imprisoned by a restriction. Even so, it would be easy for the other party to kill him. Seeing Ning Cheng retreat cautiously, the bark-faced old man said, I'm responsible for guarding these 81 blood pillars. Once someone tries to touch these 81 blood pillars, I can kill him immediately. Don't look at me here. I can go to the blood pillar that nailed Mu Gu at any time. Hearing this, Ning Cheng broke out in cold sweat and gripped the escape talisman even tighter. The blood pillar that nailed Mu Gu was the first one. Since this old man said so, it meant that he could go to any of the blood pillars at any time. He didn't feel anyone here from the beginning to the end. What would happen if this person attacked him while he was rescuing the girls on the blood pillars? But then again, he didn't feel any threat of death, which meant that this old man didn't want to attack him. Put away your escape talisman. If I wanted to attack you, I wouldn't have waited until now. Don't be surprised. I was the one who asked to be imprisoned here to guard the 81 blood pillars for 100,000 years. The condition they gave me was 30 high-grade God Spirit veins and 10 extreme darkness Tao fruits. The bark-faced old man spoke with a self-deprecating tone. Ning Cheng stared at the bark-faced old man in disbelief. 30 high-grade God Spirit veins and 10 extreme darkness Tao fruits could make a primordial chaos powerhouse guard it for 100,000 years. Ning Cheng couldn't believe it. These things were very precious, especially the extreme darkness Tao fruit. It was a primordial chaos Tao fruit, a top-grade Tao fruit that could help one comprehend the darkness spirit technique. But these things couldn't be exchanged for a primordial chaos powerhouse guarding this place for 100,000 years. What's more, this old man was imprisoned to guard it, unless this old man was stupid at the time. Do you think I'm stupid? The bark-faced old man asked calmly. I wouldn't dare. Ning Cheng cupped his fists and said, Senior must have your own thoughts, which is why you chose to stay here. The old man nodded, that's right, I do have my own thoughts, and everyone knows them. This was because everyone knew that I cultivated the Tai-E Holy Fiend art. The Tai-E Holy Fiend art was best for devouring demonic creatures in the underground abyss. That's why I requested to come to the underground abyss to watch over the 83 blood pillars. They all thought that I was taking advantage of them, so they proposed to imprison me. So it was like this, Ning Cheng finally understood. He didn't know what the Tai Holy Demon technique was, but he knew that there was nothing wrong with cultivating demonic techniques in a place with demonic beings. My Tai Change Holy Devil art was snatched from a forbidden land in the Tai Change realm. Most people know that, so no one is surprised that I requested to guard the blood pillar here. Ning Cheng remained silent, he did not know what this old man wanted to do. No matter what the old man wanted to do, he would not relax. Once the old man made a move, he would grab Qianshan and escape. My name is Xiang Dingtian. Although I obtained the Tai-E Holy Devil art, I do not cultivate a demonic technique. In fact, I have never cultivated a demonic technique. I came here for only one purpose, for my great-granddaughter, Xiang Dai. When the old man spoke until here, his tone was filled with resentment and anger. Ning Cheng's heart moved, and he quickly asked, Is your granddaughter Xiang Dai also nailed here and used as a pure body to suppress her? But among the 81 people I saved, there is no one named Xiang Dai. Ning Cheng had saved 81 people before, and all of them chose to reincarnate without exception. Before these people reincarnated, they all thanked Ning Cheng and said their names. Ning Cheng had never heard of Xiang Dai. There are 2 blood pillars here, but you didn't find them. As the old man spoke until here, 2 lines of turbid tears flowed down his face. I came here just to save my great-granddaughter Xiang Dai, but after I was imprisoned, I could only wander around the blood pillars. I can't even get close to the blood pillars, nor can I touch the restrictions of the blood pillars, let alone talk about saving day. I have cultivated for millions of years, and my name is Xiang Ding Tian, and I swear to be a man who can reach the heavens. But now I can't even save my great-granddaughter, how can I reach the heavens? Ning Cheng bowed and cupped his fists. I ask Senior Xiang to point out the location of the last 2 blood pillars. Since there were 2 blood pillars, one of them was Xiang Dai, and the other must be Shi, Senior, please guide me. Qian knelt on the ground. The old man directly threw an array flag to Ning Cheng. This is an array flag to break the concealment around you. You can drop it 3 feet behind the 81st blood pillar. Ning Cheng put away the array flag, cupped his hands in thanks, and immediately went to the 81st blood pillar and dropped the array flag 3 feet behind it. After dropping the array flag, the surrounding thick black mist instantly dissipated, and 2 more blood pillars appeared in the distance from the black mist. However, the black mist around the blood pillars, as well as the black vortexes around the blood pillars, were even denser. Ning Cheng quickly moved over, and saw a skinny girl on the left, with a black vortex hovering over her head. A thick black nail was nailed into her glabella, and only a small part of the nail could be seen. Around her waist, there was a thick iron chain that penetrated into her bones, and only half of it could be seen. Ning Cheng understood at a glance that this was because she had been nailed to the blood pillars for a longer time compared to the 81 girls outside. The girl on the right was also skinny, and the black vortex above her head was even denser than the one on the left. Black blood dripped from her body, mixed with the whimpers of the surrounding demonic creatures. It was a tragic sight to behold. Big sister her. Qian burst into tears and rushed towards the girl on the left. Ning Cheng quickly pulled Qian back. Do you want to die? The reason why he could appear here safely was not because of his high cultivation, but because his spirit techniques restrained these demonic creatures. Qian reacted and looked at Ning Cheng pleadingly. Without waiting for Qian to speak, Ning Cheng had already arrived beside and threw out dozens of array flags. The demonic creatures around were immediately alarmed. These demonic creatures immediately rushed towards Ning Cheng, but all of them were swept away by Ning Cheng's bridge of coping and looking home bridge. After an incense stick worth of time, the black nail between Shi-Er's eyebrows spilled out and fell to the ground along with a mist of blood. Ning Cheng also removed the restriction on the iron chain around her waist and let it slide down from the blood pillar. Shi-Er was also paralyzed. Unlike the 81 girls Ning Cheng had rescued before, Shi-Er fell to the ground with little vitality. Only a wisp of her aura was still fluctuating. Ning Cheng took out 2 jade bottles and handed them to Qian. Give Shi-Er some healing pills. I'll go save Xiang Dai. After another incense stick worth of time, Ning Cheng also rescued Xiang Dai. She was the same as Shi-Er. She couldn't speak, let alone dispel samsara. Ning Cheng took out several medicinal pills and put them into Xiang Dai's mouth. He then used several dirt removal techniques on her before taking out a robe and wrapping it around Xiang Dai. Only then did he bring Xiang Dai to Qian. Qian, take care of them. We'll talk about it after they wake up. Shi-Er and Xiang Dai were both nailed here and used their bodies to suppress the filthy demonic creatures underground. No one had deliberately killed them. Plus, Ning Cheng's medicinal pills were top-grade Dao pills, so the two quickly woke up. You're Qian. Why are you here? Shi-Er was shocked when she opened her eyes and saw Qian. Qian didn't answer Shi-Er's question. Instead, she cried out, Big sister Shi-Er, why were you brought here to be suppressed? Why? Big sister, did you save me? Xiang Dai also woke up. She didn't notice Ning Cheng in the distance and asked Qian weakly. Qian shook her head, it wasn't me. I brought big brother Ning Cheng to save you. Who is Big Brother Ningcheng? Shi, and Xiang Dai asked almost at the same time. Big Brother Ningcheng is Big Brother Pan Qian's friend. He's over there. Qian held back the tears in her eyes and pointed to Ningcheng, who was still harvesting demonic creatures in the distance. Ningcheng nodded to Shi, and Xiang Dai but didn't come over. With Qian around, Shi, probably wouldn't continue to choose to disintegrate reincarnation. Since Xiang Dai's great-grandfather came, Qian would probably tell her that even if she chose to reincarnate, she would at least meet her great-grandfather. At this moment, Ningcheng not only brought out the first bridge of coping, the second bridge of looking home, the third bridge of forgetting river, but he also brought out the fourth bridge of Yellow Springs. Pan Qian. Didn't he leave the Great Change Realm? Shi, asked in surprise. Qian cried out. Big Brother Pan Qian's eyes and heart were dug out, and his arms were cut off and nailed to the void. If it weren't for Big Brother Ning, I'm afraid Big Brother Pan Qian would never have come back. She, trembled when she heard this. Why was this world so dark? Even an honest person like Pan Qian couldn't be spared. Why was that? He's a very strong person. Xiang Dai looked at the bridge of coping that protected this area and the rolling yellow river above Ning Cheng's head and muttered to herself. Qian quickly spoke up, yes, if it weren't for Big Brother Ning's 7 bridges, Big Brother Ning and I wouldn't have been able to get out of here. By the way, Big Sister Dai, your great-grandfather Xiang Dingtian is here. He always wanted to save you, but he was imprisoned and couldn't get close to the blood pillar. Great-grandfather? Xiang Dai froze for a moment, then remembered something and trembled with excitement. Another half an hour passed, and she, and Xiang Dai, who could now move on their own, had already washed up and changed their clothes. They then walked towards Xiang Dingtian with Qian's help. However, the black gas permeated by the filthy demonic creatures still lingered above their heads. It couldn't be removed at all. Great-grandfather. Xiang Dai sobbed and knelt in front of Xiang Dingtian. Xiang Dingtian's body, which was curled up in the middle of the stones, trembled even more. The Xiang clan had almost gone extinct. If not for the young man with the 7 bridges spirit technique, he and Xiang Dai would have died in this endless underground abyss. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.